All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Tyranny of Dragons. Continuing towards Waterdeep right now. After being on the road for quite some time now, I believe our journey was going to be a 2-month ordeal. We're most of the way through that, so looking forward to kind of wrapping that up and getting things going in Waterdeep. Announcements for the day, as usual, at least recently, we are now streaming both here on Twitch and also over on Mixer and YouTube Live, just to kind of get some exposure out there for everybody to see what we do and hopefully bring in new viewers, which can always help here. The upcoming weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, we will have our back-to-back games, followed by the Empire game on Wednesday. So once we get there, we'll have that as well that we can all look forward to. Other than that, we do have Ungrog, thank you for the follow. That was yesterday, I believe. I just missed it. It must have happened during stream at some point. Other than that, I think that's it. Drop us into Discord.
Like a lesser role. I don't know. Like, what, you know, someone who can play a construct. You know, like what?
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Oh, well, when I fix me.
Oh yeah, for my game though, my friends were gonna play a woman inventor and her basically Warforged, and this is for my Chrono Trigger game, so I was like shitting myself that like they were gonna play Luca and Robo for me.
It's like, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was so happy.
Alrighty, so everybody ready to go? Ruckus, I haven't heard you talk.
That's because of meeting. I'm here.
Alrighty. So last time y'all started off, you were passing by Dragon Spear, learned a little bit of information about it, but not much, and you continued on your way towards Waterdeep. After a few uneventful days, a wagon in the caravan's wheel broke, causing the contents in the back to spill out. Very apparent to you and the party, not necessarily everybody else in the caravan. Some of the contents were stolen goods that seemed to be proffered by the cult. You didn't draw immediate attention to the fact and just observed, and one of you even tried to help clean things up, but were gruffly turned away. Unfortunately, one of the guards from another wagon who was attempting to fix the wheel did take a bit of an interest to the loot. Didn't think too much about it, but the next morning, this particular guard was found dead. You discovered that he had been poisoned, assumingly by the driver. Didn't draw too much more attention to it, just kept an eye on that particular driver. Days continued on. A-Rune finally got Edhelry to openly warm up to him. They shared a romantic quiet night drinking wine and ultimately participating in other activities afterwards, though they were both not very good at said activities. A few days later, you ran across a man buried up to his neck in the middle of the road. Written in bright red across his forehead was the word Oathbreaker. After deciding to help the man, even against the wishes of some of the merchants in the caravan, you found his name was Carlon Amethel, and that he was actually an agent of the Harpers who had been discovered and ultimately banished away from the cult that he was trying to follow. After gaining some valuable information from him, including that Carlon has knowledge of other agents in Waterdeep, you decided to mutually keep your distance from each other, and that Carlon would hang back until the time was right and observe. That way he didn't draw attention to you. After moving further into the Trollbark and Misty Forests, the caravan was attacked by large arachnid creatures that stole away with a couple of the horses. You all decided to chase them down and ultimately slaughtered the group of arachnids, saving the horses so that more would not need to be procured. You've continued on your journey. You're only a few days away from Daggerford at this point. Oh, I recapped that. All right, so you have continued on. Another day is passing. It's about midday or so. You know that Daggerford is only about 3 or 4 days away at this point. So you're kind of getting to the downward slope of this journey to Waterdeep. You know you're almost there. As you're continuing on, however, everybody give me perception checks.
Oh, come on, Cat. Cat wanted to climb up on top of the laptop.
I mean, it's not even the -2 at this point. I just roll terribly on perception checks.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love it.
But I love the unnatural one.
So as things are continuing on, A-Rune is, at this point, if y'all recall from the last session, A-Rune actually tried to take on the guise of another cultist, seemingly fooling the guards that were, and the wagon driver of the wagon that were broken, tipped over. A-Rune actually gave them the devout Tiamat sign to one of them very secretively, and kind of received an approving nod from them. A-Rune, you're kind of sitting off by yourself, somewhat avoiding the rest of the party, so not to draw attention to them or to blow your cover. So as you're kind of sitting, you see that while you've noticed them kind of watching you, nobody's really openly approached you up to this point. You've noticed that some of the guards, more and more with each passing day, from the wagons that you know to probably be belonging to the cultists, more and more of these guards seem to be keeping a wary eye out for you. Not really in a negative way or anything like that. They just seem to acknowledge your existence more so than anyone else in the caravan.
Making eye contact.
Yeah. Like long, prolonged eye contact, and every time you look around, you just find someone else staring at you throughout the day and throughout the last last several days, rather.
It's probably because I heard what happened in that tent.
I mean, or they're
going on in that tent.
If they don't, I don't know how connected they all are. Is this like a like a cell where they don't really know who all the other members are, or maybe they're trying to figure out what rank I am, something like that.
Give me an insight check. You're kind of musing over these thoughts. But as you kind of think about it, the logic kind of dictates that originally you only gave that sign, and only 2 different people saw it, presumably. It was only the people on that one particular wagon. However, as the days have gone on, more and more people from the other wagons have started to give you the same kind of noticing gaze. You kind of assume at this point that they're communicating, whether it be in passing throughout the day as they're going along their way towards Waterdeep, or at night when tents are being put up and all that fun stuff. You feel like they're being communicating, and that you've been told about, you've been spoken of, and that's why more and more people seem to be noticing you.
As this list of people grows, I'm going to subtly write down a list when I'm absolutely by myself, and I will, when makes sense, at least like every couple of days or so, subtly pass it off to Max, like when he comes for a drink, and I'm just doing it as my job.
Okay.
What I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. If there's a way to, Scott, add a character. I don't know how to phrase it as a character. How to get more info, or potentially kind of tip your hand, play this to your advantage. They're communicating, right? So now what do you want? You've got an audience. What do you want to say to the audience? How do you convince them that you're on their side? Do you want to approach them and continue this further, or do you want to just ride out where it is?
My thoughts are that I mean, like, big picture again, I just want to know where we get to next. So I kind of want to draw it out a little bit. Like what I'm gaining right now, which is like an increasing list of people that, you know, are aware, is like better than we started with, because we assumed it was like kind of a couple.
Right.
So yeah, I think like at least until we reach a city, he wouldn't want to push it. Also, because there's like reason to getting like kind of pushy, would be suspicious.
Your noise gate's up a little high again. Cutting you
Getting
off.
a little pushy before we reach a major city would be kind of suspicious.
No, no doubt. I mean, I agree. I think we should just have a plan in place, because I feel like if we don't initiate conversation and communication, that they will, and it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later.
No, I mean, he's
So-
got like a story in mind to work off of.
Oh, okay.
So like
You
I would,
gotta- I mean,
yeah. So
sorry.
I mean, if they come to me, I will work off of that. Otherwise, I was gonna kind of just let it go for now. Also,
Okay.
you know, like if I'm the one initiating, I don't know all the tricks that they have, so I only really knew enough to do it in passing and secretively.
I also think we need to have a, like, quote unquote safe word, or a signal if they do approach you and you feel as if the
Word.
jig is up.
Safe word, no signals.
I will
Yeah,
say
right.
loudly, "Fuck Bahamut," just to piss you off.
Right. We need a Tiamat. Just say fuck Tiamat.
I mean, it's not like a safe word because that's just like them gonna know right away.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
if we-
well, it's not. I didn't mean safe word. I meant a trigger. Let all of us know that the game is on. Like, pass along the info that they're now paying attention to us, and anything might happen. Shit might hit the fan at any moment. So as long as we're all like, okay, we're gonna turn, we can, at least all assemble.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, I mean, so I guess how are we communicating this subtly over the course of however many days?
Oh, just at breakfast, dinner, natural pauses. I'm running security, and so are you. So just kind of walking around. We just hear a couple minutes at a time. Nothing crazy, nothing untoward, but the idea that
I could even pass messages off to Terrence, don't skull through at Hillary. They'd love that. You know,
right.
like really subtle stuff, you know.
You could also play up the fact that you're talking to me and Damien as elves. Elves to elf. You're talking to us as kin, whatever. But yeah, just the idea that if something happens, you can yell down with Tiamat, but yell it, and we'll all come running.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
All right. So, like I said, A-Rune at this point, trying to gather information as best he can, seeing that he's kind of got a unwary or somewhat wary in with the cultists that are in this caravan. You've continued on. Once again, I don't think anybody's really trying to bring any suspicion or anything to themselves. So you continue on throughout the day. You get to the evening hours, and everything slows down. You're getting pretty close, about 3 days away now. Day 49 is actually what you're on at this point. You know that you should be getting there about day 52 or so to Daggerford. And you know that you'll be able to proffer at least a small inn or something like that there instead of sleeping out on the stars unless you want to. Daggerford being not a large town, but a large village, if nothing else, probably bigger, a little bit bigger than Greenest was, with a lot of surrounding farms and such around it. So you know that you're getting close to more civilization and such. And as the day has actually gone and drawn on and gotten towards the evening hours, you've noticed a lot more traffic going north and south through the tradeway. And you've noticed that throughout this entire journey, but even more so now that you're getting closer and closer to Waterdeep and Daggerford, some of the caravan has changed out a bit. The main 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The main 8 wagons are still present, owned by the same merchants and such. However, one new wagon has showed up, and it looks like a few more people coming in as guards have shown up as well. You've noticed a younger, blondie, sandy blonde-haired man has joined the group, working alongside Bade. There is another person who stood out a little bit to everybody. It's a woman, very pale skin, some red, almost fire-like hair. She initially found Bade and talked to him for a brief while, and Bade kind of explained that she was coming on as an extra hand with the guards for the remainder of the trip to Waterdeep, and that he vouched for her after talking with her for a while and kind of measuring her skill, much like he did the rest of you when you initially started this voyage in Baldur's Gate. But no other notable entries into the caravan have been noticed, so you've gone to the evening hours now, set up camp, had dinner and such. As the night begins to take over, who's all going to be doing watch on this particular night?
I will.
I will watch with Stone Skull.
Yeah, me and Steve still have the standing thing where we're doing the last watch.
So should I do first or middle watch?
You could do middle.
All right, I'll take middle of the night then.
Oh, that's worst watch.
I'm an elf.
All right, who's on first watch?
Me and Stone Skull.
All right, both of
You on watch.
both of you give me perception checks.
Hey.
Perfect.
Casey.
It is statistically just fucking impossible at this point.
Like, there's something going on with your dice or something. I don't know. I think got some weighted dice over there somehow programmed in a roll 20. So Tara obviously doesn't see anything. Stone Skull, as you're kind of sitting out watching the surrounding area, you see somewhat uncharacteristic. There seems to be more guards about in the area. Not sure why, especially with coming towards the promise of civilization and such. It's kind of odd for this many guards to be out in the night, but you don't think too much about it. Just know that you're extra protected, and you kind of take it a little bit easy for the rest of your watch. Okay. So it goes by without any incident. And
there wasn't anything suspicious about it? Like, having this sudden influx of guards here, it doesn't seem suspicious?
It seemed a little bit off. I wouldn't say necessarily a bit suspicious. It just seems weird that there's so many people. This is as many guards that were on station every night when you were in the Fields of the Dead, for instance.
Okay.
Whereas you've kind of gotten past the forest is a little bit dangerous, but getting this close, it seemed kind of odd for some reason that so many people were on watch, and maybe it's just people trying to earn their keep or something like that. It's hard to really explain.
See, because I was there, nothing happened.
Yep. That's exactly why nothing happened.
All right. So you two get done with your watch, and A-Rune takes over. A-Rune, much of the same. Go ahead and give me a perception.
Yep.
Okay. So as you're sitting at your normal perch atop a wagon, so watching the surrounding area. You two also notice a bit of a influx of guards around the area, somewhat away from where you're sitting watch. As you begin to look around at them instead of watching the surrounding area, however, you notice that these are all guards that have looked at you the past few days, namely ones that belong to the cult. And as about an hour goes by, you see them beginning to move more into groups of 3 and 4. There's about 8 or 9 of them total, milling around the camp in kind of guard rotation. After about an hour, as I said, 2 of them walk up to you, and you see one of them raise his hand up with 5 fingers outstretched, and then lower 2 of them. And he looks up at you as you kind of acknowledge the salute and such. And he says, "We need to talk. Come with us."
What was that?
That was Willie.
All right. So I'll, look around cautiously, then return it and, nod, head off with them.
All right, and I will send you a message as to what's going to happen when you do that.
Okay.
He did.
That was the last
Nice.
I saw of A-Rune.
Maxine and Sarah, give me perception checks. So as you're kind of stirring, this whole trip, you've been kind of rotating watch every night. So you've kind of gotten used to the various time slots. Max, you awake somewhat surprised in your kind of grogginess of waking up from sleeping part of the night to notice that you were not woken up by A-Rune. But in the distance, instead, you hear "Down with Tiamat" kind of echoing through the air.
I want to jump up and with the loudest piercing whistle I can manage, scream up into the air and say, it's time to go, and start running towards the sound. Trying to absolutely wake up Stone Skull, Steve, and Tara. Yeah, everybody. Well, everybody. I don't give a damn who hears what.
Yeah, like half the camp is awake at this point. All of you characters have woken up.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to move to the sound of A-Rune as fast as I can.
All right. The sound is coming from the southwest. It seemed to be somewhat far away. You only got the trail end of the kind of echo of the scream that was clearly coming from A-Rune, radiating off from the woods down to your kind of southwest of the camp.
I'm grabbing, mounting on my horse and taking off at full gallop.
Seeing him kind of rush out and get on his horse, kind of look back for Tara and...
Yeah, I'm one step behind him. I'm jumping on the horse as he does.
And then we'll head out just the same as Max.
I'm also going to follow suit, hopping on my horse behind Maxine.
All right. So as you're all bursting out of camp, everybody give me, except for Tara, give me perception checks.
Okay. Okay.
So you all catch wind, or not catch wind, you mostly notice in passing who Stone Skull and just Stone Skull. Tara didn't see shit. Stone Skull had seen earlier the multitude of guards. You see them all kind of gathered up towards the southwest, and you kind of brush by them. They all seem to be grouped up, looking off towards the sound. But you take off past them, rushing into the woods. And as you get, a few hundred feet into the woods, you begin to smell, the very familiar scent of what seems like smoke. And as you progress further, you see a small clearing that may not have been natural less than an hour ago. You see a few arrows stuck in trees and some other trees where it looks like they've exploded from unnatural forces. More than likely from something like the exploding or bursting arrows that A-Rune implemented. Towards the center of the clearing, you see the gift that A-Rune received. The bow splintered in half, laying down on the ground. A-Rune is nowhere to be seen.
And as we, I should have said this as we were leaving, as we were going by those guards that you mentioned, that were all kind of looking off in that direction, kind of look back and say, protect the caravan, we'll be back, and kind of head that direction. Does it look like the path kind of ends, though, once we get to this bow? Like if we were kind of tracking them to figure out where they went.
As you're kind of looking around the area, give me investigation checks.
Okay. This is gonna... Oh, it went better than I thought.
Yeah.
At least my -2 doesn't give me a 0.
Yeah, Sarah.
There's that 0, though.
There's that 0.
There it is.
Right. So as everybody's kind of frantically looking around, obviously seeing the leftover scene of a battle that commenced down here, Stone Skull, you're able to look around. It seems like you see multitudes of different footsteps. Seems like a lot of people were down here in some sort of melee. It's all scattered and chaotic. You can't really tell directions and such, but it doesn't seem like anything heads off in any other directions from this area from your investigation. However, one thing of note that you find a tattered piece of paper laying on the ground. It has an obvious blood spot on the side of it.
Okay. So I kind of pull the horse to stop and jump off quickly and grab the paper and read what the paper says.
So as you pull it up, some of it's kind of charred on the side, so some of the lettering is broken apart. I can't read it all, but you do see names etched in very hasty scribe into this paper. The names read off Edhelri Luel with a question mark after it, Inon Tobun, and Aldor Un. And at the very bottom of it, kind of in the corner, somewhat more relaxed, not as rushed as the upper script was. It's just a simple note that says, I think they discovered me.
How far away is Max?
I would assume he's pretty close. It's
Yeah,
not
I'm
very
right
big
next to
clearing.
you.
Oh,
Yeah, as soon as they got to the clearing, it was a hurried dismount.
Yep.
You know, feet on the ground.
So as we approach, I'll obviously hand the note over to Max and continue scouting the area to see if I find any trail of them heading off somewhere.
I'm gonna just, start yelling, "Hey, Rune, can you hear me?" Yelling it out into the woods.
So as you're all kind of investigating and Max begins to yell out for his comrade, you hear a shuffling behind you coming through the woods, and Bade Setchapul comes walking through, his sword already drawn, and he's looking around, obviously trying to figure out what's going on. And as he sees you all searching around the area, he kind of takes the scene in and such, and looks at you, the group, kind of incredulously, and says, "What happened here?"
One of our men, I heard him cry out from here and pick up like either half of his bow. A-Rune was here, and I'm not sure what happened, but he's gone now.
That he kind of squints his eyes and shakes his head, and he's like, "Why? Why would he have ventured so far from the camp, knowing the dangers out here?"
Kind of looking around. Are there any other? There's no bodies. There's no nothing. Just there's evidence of combat by like destruction, but that's it.
Lots of destruction. You see several blood spots, things of that nature, but no visible bodies or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll kind of pull him to the side and say, "Are you aware of the affiliation of some of the people in our caravan?"
That he kind of raises an eyebrow. He says, "I don't ask questions, friend. I just make sure they get to their destination safely."
I'll kind of grab him by his like lapel and pull in, and like motion over to the bow and say, "Well, you have failed, then, haven't you? He didn't make it safely." And with that, kind of relax and step back and say, "The people who are with you on this caravan are not good people, and I have reason to believe that he was killed by them or taken by them. They had something to do with this."
With that, he kind of scratches his chin and looks at you and says, "Well, do you have any proof of this? Do you have any reason to believe they would want to hurt your friend?"
Oh, I could think of a couple of reasons why they'd want to hurt our friends. Without mentioning it, you just say that they're a part of the cult of the dragon, and they're responsible for the sacking that's been going on down south.
With that, you kind of see him visibly, he's visibly taken aback by this news. He says, "The cult, that's just hearsay and rumor. It's been that way for centuries. Why would they be in our group here?"
Do you realize that most of the wagons that you've got in this caravan have false bottoms, and inside are the stolen treasures of quite a few towns that have been robbed farther south?
With that, he raises an eyebrow once again. Make a persuasion check.
I'm supposed to be good at this.
He done did it.
Although I haven't been.
Yeah.
That he kind of nods. He says, "It's not odd or unlikely for false bottoms inside things. There's smugglers that we may have to protect and such. It doesn't really matter. We're just here to protect them. We're paid to do a job, and we do it."
With that, kind of nod and say, "So are you not concerned then that people who would do this still be traveling with you for an undetermined amount of time?"
I'm actually going to kind of step forward and say, "And what happens when it's you next time, Bay?"
With that, you see him kind of bayed, not bay. With that, he shrugs, looks at you and says, "They haven't caused me any trouble, friend. I keep my nose out of things that I shouldn't, you see. And I see no reason why they would single me out for anything that I attempt to do if I keep my head down."
Yeah, I'm kind of turn around and look back at him as like, that won't bring A-Rune back. We have to find him.
That once again, he seems to give your words thought, but at the same time, you know that he is in charge of this entire caravan and keeping it safe. So his priorities obviously are lying elsewhere. And he reaffirms this by looking. He said, "Well, you were paid to do a job. I hope that you'll have the decency to see it to the end, but I can't spare any time or men to go look for your friend. As far as I know, he could have been ambushed by bandits out here. I'm just glad they didn't attack the camp, honestly. If you need anything that concerns the caravan from me, I'll be back there, but I cannot help you." And with that, he turns and heads back off in the direction of the caravan.
Yeah, well, I want to, take my search to a wider perimeter, find footprints, anything, proof of motion.
All right, give me another investigation check as you're moving into a wider area. Okay, so just outside of the clearing as you're moving around, you discover some drag marks where it looks like something was dragged through some of the grass on the ground. And as you move further, you clearly see a body, a black lump laying in the ground, further up into the or out of the clearing, rather.
Yeah, I don't want to go up to it.
So as you move forward, you see a man, clearly not A-Rune, too bulky and such, but as you look at him and kind of flip his body over, you see a broken off arrow laying in his chest. The arrow looks familiar to you. It's clearly the ones that A-Rune secured in El Turel while talking to Frum's men. This is one of the guards from the other wagons.
Oh, one of the cultist guards. Is he alive or is he dead?
Oh, he's very dead.
Oh, okay. One second. I want to pick this dude up. Actually, I'm just gonna drag him out. I want to pick him up, and kind of toss him into the clearing for everyone to see. Or, well, Bade took off, right?
Who?
Bade
Bade.
Bade
He
headed
left.
back to
Yeah, he's
the
gone.
wagons.
It's
Yeah.
just us now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just you.
Yeah, so toss him out onto the middle. It was them. It was the cultists who did this. Kind of stand there. When I suggest we make one more sweep to try and find A-Rune, and if we can't find him, then they don't leave here either.
Are you saying we attack the caravan?
Absolutely.
Tara kind of pounds her fist into her hand and smiles.
As you're all beginning to search once again, sweeping out into the area, everybody give me another perception check.
Okay.
Can I be an advantage since I'm going to be looking for drag marks in the air?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey.
Double digit.
So as you're looking around, you begin spreading out even further. You don't see very many more signs. You see where it seems like some people may have been crouched in wait and then moved clearly towards the clearing, almost as if somebody had set up an ambush here at this location. Stone Skull, as you're wandering around, I imagine you kind of have a torch or a lantern out to try to shed some light around your area. You turn to your left, looking around a tree, somewhat large one, and you come face to face with the red-headed woman that joined the caravan earlier that day.
She's standing there, or is she dead? I'm sorry, I missed
No,
that.
she's standing there staring right at you.
And what brings you all the way out here?
I understand that you are in contact with the Order.
Yes, but I don't see how that answers my question.
I am an acquaintance of the Order, actually one of their members. Upon hearing of the group's sudden emergence into the woods, I took chase. If these cultists are becoming active, we have to put a stop to them.
And Stone Skull, not really trusting this individual, just kind of nods and says, well then perhaps you should lead the way.
So I take a nod, look around, survey the area. What do you want me to roll to check that out?
Same as the others, investigation.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, you don't see much more than what everyone else has seen.
So unfortunately, I'm not very good in the woods. Do you have any idea which way your friend might have went?
Did I find tracks or anything like that? Haven't. Was I following them when I got to her?
You were kind of just looking around the area, seeing random things, but you didn't see any tracks leading off for, aside from the few places you saw leading into the area, into the clearing. You didn't see anything leading off.
And how far away is the rest of the group from me?
Everybody's within 50 feet or so.
Kind of give a whistle to try to get the attention of the others and to kind of call them over to where we're at. And say I'm not exactly sure where we go, but I'm sure we can figure something out.
I'm gonna kind of almost in just like a frustration, like stand up, almost like a giving up, just turn and say, well, where could he have gone? He didn't walk away, he didn't crawl away. And they just come up and just like kick the, snot out of the body right in front of me. Well, where is he? Just scream at it. I keep forgetting I'm an elf chick. That would be really kind of amusing to watch. This kind of elf girl rage out.
You have a bit of fire inside of you, dear.
Who are you?
I will extend my hand and say, member of the Order, Ignalia.
We should just kind of extend my hand and said, and as I imagine, I extend my hand and shake it. I let the illusion kind of fade to allow her to see me.
I'm gonna blink and then stare upwards a bit, and then kind of jump back, put my hand on my sword.
So as I let go, I imagine the illusion kind of comes back, or it's kind of translucent, saying, we've tried to maintain a low profile in this caravan, all the way up from Baldur's Gate. We ran into, sorry, my notes got pushed on my catwalk on my laptop again. We walked in or met Carlon MFL, Master MFL in the road, another fellow agent, and saved him along our way. And now we've picked you up. It seems as if we're all headed in the same direction.
As you're all conversing, you all hear more kind of crashing through the woods. Somebody approaching from the direction of the caravan.
Going to draw the greatsword and just kind of watch intently for whatever it is it's going to show its face.
Can I feel them coming?
Yeah, you feel one person that seems to be coming through the woods towards you.
I'm going to get ready just in case. Just kind of turn towards the noise and wait for anything to come out of the bush.
So as you all kind of stop talking and turn towards the sound, you hear kind of a hushed whisper coming out from the darkness. Ignalia, where did you go? And as the
I
voice,
recognize this, yes.
Yes, you definitely recognize this. With your lanterns and torchlight and such, you see the face of the sandy-haired man that also joined the caravan earlier that day come walking through into the clearing.
And who is this? I just kind of motion with my head over to him.
As you say that, you see the man kind of visibly sighs. He turns and sees the red-haired woman. He says, "What is going on here?"
We could ask you the same
question. I'll just kind of pat my hands down in the air to kind of soothe him a bit. And I'm gonna put away. I started drawing my sword from the scabbard, but I put it back down. Say, these are friends. They're friends of the Order. There are definitely cultists among the caravan, as we be. but they have taken some action that we didn't expect.
Is that messed up
Is
for
it?
anybody but me?
Yeah, you're still breaking up a bit.
God damn it. Done everything. Hold on then.
It
Move
sounds like
closer.
connection or battery based. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like you're dying, but not yet.
It's not battery based.
We're out of range.
I don't know. We'll try it for now.
Okay. It's not bad. I was just,
Yeah.
Just
Is
let me
this an improvement?
yes.
I think it has like terrible like audio fidelity, so it drops out way too quick.
All right. So as
Sorry,
this
guys.
man moves in there and you all begin to question everything, and Ignalia begins to explain what's going on, the man kind of runs his hand through his hair. He says, well, we weren't really planning to make contact until Daggerford or afterwards, but Froome sent us to come see you all. He kind of motions to the group here, though we were expecting one other member to be among you.
He was until very recently. We can't seem to find out where he went.
And with that, the man kind of turns and surveys the area for the first time. Says, well, was this his handiwork here?
I, kick the body again at my feet, kind of motion to him. And said, it is. They missed one.
With that, the man walks over to the body and kind of surveys it for a brief moment, and then looks back up to you and says, cultists?
Just nod. Mm-hmm. One of a dozen guards they've got around that caravan right now.
Daddy kind of nods, stands back up, obviously thinking for a moment. So you have no idea where your friend is. Do you know if he's even alive at this point?
No, kind of, deep exhale and shake my head. No way of knowing anything.
With that, the man crosses his arms and shakes his head again. He's like, we've lost far too many already to these monsters. He sighs and outstretches a hand towards you, Max, clearly going to your normal height. He's apparently already seen through your illusion. He holds his hand out to shake, says, my name is Roger Free.
Kind of take his hand and, a clasp. It's good to have friends out here as well.
With that, he nods. This, somewhat strong grip coming from this man. Seems like he holds his bearing well. He says, well, Froome sent us, me and Ignalia here, to come make sure that everything was going as planned. If you had gathered any other information, that way I can report back to our agents and send the message back to him, keep him in the loop, as it were.
I would just, let him know that, we've basically, been made now, or at least he was. We kept precautions in place, trying not to compromise the whole group. But that the cult is intermittently loading wagons with stolen goods, and then these goods are being compiled in the wagons that we're guarding. And we're continuing to head north, but we really don't have anything else to report aside from the loot that's being gathered is being gathered on the tradeway, and it's heading north.
That he kind of nods and shakes his head a little bit disappointed. Says, well, we knew most of that already, but you still have no idea where they're taking all of this?
No, not yet.
Not past Waterdeep, anyway.
Not unless you've heard of some magical city that no one else has ever heard of.
That he sighs again and kind of shakes his head. Says, no, the entirety of our group is trying to figure out where that is. Just nothing is coming to us. No information about it. It's strange. This made-up place that they're going to, this Neatar. But we don't know where they're going. We still don't. You're, unfortunately, the only group that's stayed with them this long. Nobody else has made it past Daggerford. Everybody else gets found out or they risk compromise. Do you know if the rest of you, and he kind of motions out to the rest of the group, do you know if you've been compromised, or was it obviously just your friend?
I think it was just our friend, although we did make quite an exit.
That he kind of nods and thinks for a moment again. He says, well, would you be willing to continue your mission if I promise to look for your friend?
Listen, that does no one any service. A-Rune, us, or the order. Kind of, shake my head. I don't know what more we can do.
With that, you kind of see him looking around. He seems to be taking very careful observation of the area. He says, I'm pretty good at tracking. It's what I've been doing my entire life. It's why the order has me around, even though I'm not. He kind of motions over towards Ignalia. I'm not as devout as some of the other members. I promise you I'll do my utmost to look for your friend. If he's alive, I'll be able to find him. And if he's dead, then, well, there's nothing any of us can do for him at this point.
I'll kind of nod and say he was coming from Candlekeep. I don't know how well he'll know this area, but if you find him, tell him we will wait a 10-day in Waterdeep for him to catch up if he can make it. But I think that's as long as we might be able to stall before we have to continue on.
And with that, you see him nodding. He says, very good. I'm glad that you're still willing to partake on this mission. I know that losing your comrades is very hard, but unfortunately, that's the nature of the job. However, some good news. He turns and motions to Ignalia. And says, Ignalia here is, or was rather, one of Froom's right-hand men, as it were. She's very good at protecting herself, and that is why we've sent her to join up with you for the remainder of this journey to Waterdeep. At the very least, she can provide some extra protection. She has a little bit of information about the Order that could probably help you out.
Tara just seems very confused. Wait, is it a girl or a guy?
Wait, what did I say?
You said she was his right-hand man.
Well, that was a literal, like, you in the army, you say sir, even though it's a female.
No, blind Tara.
No, you don't.
No blind Tara.
They do in the movies, goddammit.
Okay, sorry.
Whatever.
I was like,
yeah, no.
Sorry.
They did before you started getting bitchy about pronouns.
All right.
It's
Snowflake, calm down.
It's clearly a woman. It's just he was kind of playing on words of right-hand man, as it were, kind of figuratively speaking.
It's not clearly a woman to me.
Never met this lady before. Have you heard her voice? I mean, it's deep.
Sup, guys?
You've been questioning Tara since you met her. I mean, shit.
Fair enough.
It's just the gravel in her voice.
Gravel.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so
Let it burn.
Looking to, he said devout.
Sorry, is that directed at me?
Yeah. Sorry, I was kind of like with a raised eyebrow.
I will reservedly kind of look away and just say, I can get a bit swept away in my vigor.
Swept away by what?
She's just saying that she can get a little bit, a little too into it, is what he's saying.
Oh, into what?
God damn it, man. We're devout.
With that,
Yeah,
you see Roger kind of walking up next to her and say, well, sometimes she gets a little carried away, as it were, and he kind of turns his left arm over. On the back of it, you see not a large one, but a bit of a burn mark that is scarred over on his arm. Needless to say, you should keep an eye on her for your safety as well as hers.
Kind of look her up and down. So, fair enough. Bit of a loose cannon, huh?
Can we have a picture of her?
We all have a little bit of a fire inside ours. Mine's just more literal.
Yeah, 1 second.
Well, I imagine, snuffing. I have a little bit of, cloud of smoke come out of my nostrils, as do I. But I plan on keeping it maintained, and you should too.
I do my best.
Just kind of, sit back and smile and say, well, now there's business to discuss of how to proceed. Do we go along as if nothing happened? Just give up on him, like?
They're certain to ask questions when we get back to camp.
I'll just tell them I didn't see anything.
I suggest, taking a more somber approach, that we lost our friend, but continue on, because we all need the money. It should stop any more questions from being asked.
And these two that we are standing near, they were the ones that joined the caravan earlier, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there won't be questions as to why we're bringing new people back.
No, they clearly came from the caravan.
Okay.
I do want to introduce Carl. Just look over. Steve, can you go track down Carlon and bring him here?
Yes.
Meanwhile, while Steve's going, Tara is going to walk up to Ignalia and tug on whatever's not armor on her and say, "Get down here."
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'1". I'm short.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm 6'2", so I'm towering over you.
Yeah.
So I will
sorry,
actually.
I'm 4'11". I am very tiny for my race.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll actually take like a small knee and lower her down.
And when she comes down here, Tara's just gonna like rub her dirty hands all over her face to see what she looks like.
I like it.
I'm gonna just kind of like let it happen, and can I make an insight check into her?
Yeah, do it with advantage.
That's a 16.
All right. So as this is going on, you were told, kind of in your missive, your orders, when you were venturing off to join this group, a very little description of each of them. You knew that there were 2 Dragonborn of gold coloration, and Moon Elf of exceptional ability with a bow, a little girl who could not see but somehow was able to see other things through some kind of arcane way of doing it. And then a very large brute of a man who was very good at drinking was the side note on him.
At least they got something right.
Right?
So you kind of draw the conclusion to say that she's blind and trying to figure out what you look like.
I'm gonna send a message into Tara's head and say, I think we have more in common than you realize.
Tara is going to be kind of weirded out and like start turning around, trying to figure out where the sound's coming from.
Tara, give me an Arcana check.
Yeah.
As this message kind of radiates through your mind, you know of a spell that someone of your practice would be able to learn called Message, and that seems to be what she is doing.
I kind of turn back towards her and I say, You could be useful. And then just walk back over by Stone Skull.
I'm literally just gonna like, ha! At that.
Like you send a message and it comes right back like crystal clear. Like, all right, yeah, interesting.
All right.
So at that, I'm actually gonna look around through the party again and look towards Sarah and say, I don't think I met anyone with your description. Who is she?
Oh, Sarah is supposed to be off looking for someone right now.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah,
As you're
they ran
kind of
off.
looking around, you're saying, kind of thinking there was another one here. You see Sarah reappearing with Carlon, who was kind of off to the side of the camp, trying to hide as best he can. Keep unwary eyes from seeing him, but being in a way that he can observe the rest of the camp. But Sarah, you were able to find him pretty easily and bring him back with you.
As he, kind of comes into the clearing and say, Carlon, I'd like you to meet two more members of the order that was been sent to track all of us down.
With that, Carlon walks forward and gets his normal bearing that you know from him. Somewhat confident, and he looks the two newcomers up and down. He says, "More from the order, huh? Well, they're useful in their own right, even if it is somewhat straightforward."
Tara's just going to pipe up, that's what I said.
Master Almafel, I've heard tale of you. I hear normally you're up to your knees in other people's business, but this time around to hear it was your neck.
That he kind of chuckles and looks a little chagrined. He says, "Yeah, not my finest moment, unfortunately." And he kind of notices, the symbol across your heavier armor, that of villain. What was it?
Viren.
Line.
Varen, yeah.
Varen. Yeah. Kind of looks at that and then notices your red hair. He's like, "I've heard a tale of you too. You're Ignalia, correct?"
I just give him a small bow.
With that, he kind of steps back and looks around the area. He's like, "Did you cause these burn marks as well?"
These aren't nearly deep enough.
That you see him kind of scratch his chin. He says, "Yeah, I would imagine so. Try not to set the caravan on fire."
Did you just sick burn A-Rune too?
The burn puns, they've begun.
Giggity.
Keyword is try here.
With that, you see Carlin kind of nod. He says, "Very well. I'm assuming the higher up sent you two," as he looks at Ignalia and Roger.
They say, yes, we were sent as a advanced team to meet up with the caravan.
With that, you see him nod. He says, "Very well. Makes sense, I suppose, especially with my mission being compromised and ultimately foiled by those bastards." He shakes his head, obviously not proud of it. Seems to be a stain on a good record that he had going. But he nods and says, "Very well, that should work out well. I was listening after he motions to the party and such. He says, after you took off after A-Rune, it doesn't seem like they were too noticing of it. Friends trying to figure out where their friend went is all that's really spreading across camp. So I think that your cover is still intact."
And kind of, nod and mention, let's get back to our posts then, and continue on. Turn to Roger and say again, send word if you find him. I don't think I don't see his body, which means I don't think he went quietly.
With that, you see Roger kind of grin. He looks around the area at all the damage and such around the area. And he says, "Yeah, I don't think quietly was anything that happened here, but I promise I will find him. If he's alive or dead, I'll do my best to find him either way. You continue on with the mission. Ignalia will help you as she can. Don't expect to see me again for a while. I'm going to venture off from the camp and begin searching and getting information to send off to Froome as soon as I can."
Have it.
What?
Would mending fix A-Rune's bow, just not the magical part of it, right? Or would
Yes.
You would have to take a bit of time to do it, though.
Yeah, it'll take a while to
Yeah,
do
I
it.
just want to collect the pieces then.
And start putting it back together.
Okay.
His magical device that you don't know what it did.
Right.
We'll just have it as a keepsake for
In
when we ultimately
memoriam.
find your dead body.
All right. So with that being said, you kind of all start heading back to the caravan, all taking over kind of a sullen atmosphere, somewhat playing the part that is that your friend is gone, either dead or taken or run off, something along the way. You don't really know, so not really acting too much. But you make it back to camp. Seems like everybody's kind of returned. There's a few hours left until dawn, so mostly everyone is returned back to their beds and such, seeing that there was no immediate threat. Bade is standing by where you sleep and kind of acknowledges you coming back, unspoken, and goes back to his tent, seemingly to pretty much say, thank you for coming back. Thanks for having the decency to do so.
Yeah, just I imagine just a curt nod. We don't need to talk. We just need to. We're here. Let's keep moving.
Yeah,
And,
he pretty much gets the distinction all business from Bade. So
yeah.
Before Roger leaves, I will see him off whenever that is.
Yeah, he pretty much stays in the clearing. So if you have any parting words or information you want from him before you take off from the clearing, go ahead.
No, I'll just give him a firm hand clasp and say, Mount Celestia does not have a space yet available for you. Please take care until next we meet.
Daddy chuckles and says, "I don't plan on going anywhere for a while, so you take care out of there. It's obviously," as he kind of motions around to the clearing, it's obviously very dangerous. Be safe and watch out for your new friends.
I'm gonna, turn away, head back towards the group, and go like, "The hell are friends?"
Things normal people have. So you all make it back to camp. Not much is going on. It seems like the crowd that you saw when you were rushing out is dispersed. Stone Skull, you're able to see that not many people were left for guard duty for the rest of the night. Just seems like a normal amount at this point. So Sarah and Maxine, you're able to finish off the night for the rest of the evening. Nothing untoward shows up, and the next day arrives. There we go. So you continue on. It is now day 50 goes by, nothing happens. Continue on into day 51. You pass a place called Gillian's Hill at this point, just outside of Daggerford. Didn't have my notes open for that. 1 second.
I was like, I don't have any input for that.
Gillian's Hill, it's located just southeast of Daggerford. It's a little over a half day's ride. It's a small hamlet. You know that there was tale of, back in ancient times, there was a dangerous tomb that led to the Underdark in this area, somewhere around Gillian's Hill. But you know that some ancient and powerful wizards came by when this tomb was discovered and actually put spell guards onto it to protect from the Underdark anything lying beneath to come through it and encroach on the Sword Coast in this area.
Nice. Good on him. Do you know who it was?
No, kind of one of those just, this wizard, that wizard. No real names attached to it, just kind of ancient deeds gone by.
Gandalf Dumbledore.
Gotcha.
Gandalf the way.
I was so hoping that like you were gonna direct us to attack the caravan. Like, yes!
Do it.
I'm
Burn
so
it. Burn it all.
I would. Let's do it.
So as you continue
No.
on, please stop.
Moving on.
And then we murdered our,
Moving on.
hoboed our way to Waterdeep.
I'm excited. No, please don't.
Things go great till Daggerford, and then something took a turn. Like, I don't know. A-Rune died, that was it.
It's like A-Rune
That
died,
made us
shit,
snap.
what the hell? Ugh.
It made us snap. That was it.
Who knew that
Wait,
snarky
we don't know he's dead.
asshole was
Y'all
the
stop
glue?
that. He could still be alive.
Yeah, stop writing me off, assholes.
Hey,
Didn't find a body. Just everybody keep that in mind. So moving on, you pass by Gillian's Hill, making camp in the near area for the night, and you continue on the next day. About halfway through the day, you arrive at the large town or large village of Daggerford. Don't have a map or anything for it, so you'll still be on this one for a little bit. As you walk around for the day, even though it's only halfway through the day, the caravan decides to stop, take rest for the rest of the day since you're on the last leg of the journey to Waterdeep. A few of the guards at this point go ahead and part ways with the group. Since it's not very far away now, they don't need the extra protection of going through some of the more dangerous places to the south. You hear some local lore around the area. You hear talk of the Duke over this area named Maldwyn Daggerford and his legendary magic blade called Law Flame. You hear of different higher ups that seem to focus on this area, use this place as kind of a neutral ground for political matters and things of that nature. But nothing seems to be going on at the particular time that you're passing through. As you're moving through, you take your time off. It's obviously safe here. There's very large walls around this village. Pretty much what you expected your plans for Greenest, when like A-Rune was looking to get walls and protection set up and everything. This is Daggerford. Greenest in 5 years is what Daggerford is now. It's well protected. You see a small kind of keep, a small castle in the middle, obviously dwarven made, that this place was built around. It seems like a well protected place, for obviously being a kind of tradeway with a river kind of leading from the Sea of Swords off to the west that passes nearby Daggerford. It needed kind of the extra protection just in case any bandits or raiders or things like that showed up.
Sorry, there's sick burns going on in the chat.
Seems like it. Y'all are just so bloodthirsty, man.
all
So,
right,
Damien, you should make
let's
some friends and not just acquaintances, okay? You only introduced them once.
That's it. Let's take over Daggerford.
After I just get done talking about a duke with a magic sword. Yeah, no, great idea. Try it.
You
City-
called it Law Flame. What do you expect me to do?
You act like, you act
City
like we're not
Shadow.
going to start a revolution and make someone else do the work for us.
Ignalia just meets Maldwyn Daggerford and looks down at the sword. It's like, is this yours? No, this is mine. Just tries to take the damn sword.
This is mine now.
You made this? No, I made this.
Yeah.
All right, so you continue through the day. Once again, having some kind of rest and relaxation. I imagine you all find a tavern, to kind of drink in, reminisce about A-Rune, still having, no word at this point about his fate. And the night, like I said, goes on without a hitch for the most part. Nothing seems to pop up. Next day comes up, and you begin preparing to take off to the northwest towards Waterdeep. once again, just like a few days ago when Ignalia and Roger Free joined the caravan, you see two people. Oh, fuck.
Hi, more. Stop it.
Stop moving.
I was trying
Why?
to drag my
Ah.
and I dragged Highmore instead.
Why is
Hi.
this? Why is this
Or-
region following us?
Thank God for Control Z.
Stoned.
All right. Much like before, you see two people join the caravan at this point. You see a small, kind of large-nosed gnome woman join on. She seems to keep to herself for the most part, just joining in. She pays off one of the merchants to kind of ride along with them for the rest of the journey to Waterdeep. You also see a somewhat tan skin, not dark skin. He's not black or anything, but kind of very tanned man with a hood over his head join the caravan as well. He actually, from what your observation, you know that he is talking to one of the wagons that belongs to the cultists. And though other people have done the same, seeking passage, everybody seemed to have been turned away. But as this man goes up and talks to him, he's welcomed aboard and goes into the back of the wagon. Everybody give me, except Tara, give me perception checks as he does so.
Holy
Nice.
hell.
I'm just gonna click on it to see what happens. Oh,
Hey.
Wasted it. You scrub. Maxine and Stone Skull. As you're looking at this man trying to take a look, you see the flap of his hood kind of come back, and you see the edge of what appears to be some kind of blue tattoo shining on his forehead that seems to be hidden somewhat by the hooded cloak. It seems to be the reason that he's wearing a hood is to cover this tattoo.
It's you said it's a blue tattoo that he's trying to hide with the hood of the cloak.
I mean, the hood is kind of pulled down to a point where you can still see most of his face, so it's obviously not used to hide that. However, he seems to be trying extra hard to keep it pulled down to where you can't see his forehead. But you're able to catch the edges of a blue kind of, almost seems like the bottom of a circle, wrapping around down with the apex of it being down towards the bridge of his nose. Creeping out from under the hood when he got kind of careless, but he quickly, brought the hood back up to cover it up.
How close is Max to where I'm at?
I would say y'all are relatively close together. Y'all are keeping, in light of recent events, you're keeping a good eye on each other.
With that, kind of give Max a little nudge and say, "Did you see that?"
I didn't realize I was muted still. I've been talking this whole time. Yeah. No, I imagine just like kind of sharing a glance and moving, my horse closer. Like, was that? I think that was the same man we saw at the encampment outside of Greenest.
Both of you are y'all sharing this information with anybody or keeping it to yourselves?
well,
I mean,
I
I'm
can
sure
hear it because I'm on the back of
Okay.
horse.
As this information kind of becomes known to everybody in the party, everybody give me insight checks.
Nailed it.
Oh.
Hey, I have an
I, on
82
the
and
other
those
hand,
are
did
a
not.
16. What's up?
All right. So, Ignalia, especially Tara and Maxine. Tara, especially, doesn't know if it's the same man or not. Ignalia as well, because she was not present for this. Max, you kind of have the idea that this could possibly be the same man you saw at the bandit camp. You know that many from another country called Thay, these people are called Thayans, have shaved and tattooed heads. You know that the Red Wizards of Thay come from this country, though not every Thayan is a Red Wizard. You know that countless Thayans fled their country when the Lich Zaz-Tam seized control. So it's not entirely unheard of to see them on the Sword Coast. So So, food for thought.
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar. So are we playing up the aspect that they're like being an evil enslavers and shit like that?
They have the
They're not-
they have the tendency to be so. However, at this point in time, they're more so refugees.
Oh, the irony!
Because a lich took over their country, so a lot of them said "fuck that" and left.
It was one of the. It was one of their own. It was their own lich. They did it to themselves. I think
Was his
zero
name Strahd?
sympathy.
It's not Strahd.
Strahd is a lich? Oh, you're fucked.
Vampire lich.
Vampire lich, Demogorgon, fucking yeah, no thanks. But yeah, I mean, that they have the tendency, they have the ability, just like anybody, to be evil, to be slavers, to be generally unsavory people. You've just seen this guy, you haven't even talked to him, so you can't really pass adequate judgment on him at this point. But you do get the hint that he is probably a Thayan of some sort that has fled from the country of Thay.
Yeah, I'm going to. You kind of really like his robes. And, that's a thing if I've seen one.
A Thay, you say? Truly an example of people who couldn't control their own power.
Yeah, kind of not. The smile is like, is that disgust or admiration I hear in your tone?
Neither.
Maxine, take a point of inspiration for a quick pickup on that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mhm.
What I don't want to lose. I think that Thayan is more important than all the baubles and trinkets that are on this caravan.
What makes you think that?
He was inside Langredosa's circle. And Langredosa at least had information on what was coming and going on this caravan. He was high enough up in the cultist food chain.
Are you sure it's the same one?
I would bet my life on it.
I mean, you give me the wood, and I'll just go in there, and we'll just take him hostage now. I mean,
Yeah, and I don't think that's the best way to play this. I think we're still looking for bigger fish. These are still he's just a henchman. He's just like Langredosa was. It's not going to give us anything. I think that we should make sure that our other Harper associate gets with this wagon to Waterdeep, where he can get back to his contacts, perhaps. And if this gentleman, the Stayan, decides to veer course and go anywhere else aside from wherever this caravan's going, that's where we're going as well.
All of us?
Yes. I think that becomes the mission.
all right. I don't like this idea. If you suggest it, then that's what we'll do.
To catch a fish, you need bait, and we want a bigger fish.
I kind of smile, so which means we need the biggest bait we've got.
Well, if we're gonna be fishing for a while, I guess that gives us a little time for me to tell you how I got my sword.
Did you win it from an ogre in a drinking contest?
Oh no, friend, it was much better than that.
I imagine that's a cutscene as I kind of steer my horse away from the conversation, like just slowly fall back away, like bye.
And as Max, as you turn, you see Carlon. The wagon train, the caravan is beginning ready to set off out of Daggerford. You see Carlon uncharacteristically walking towards you, and he kind of motions for you to join him off to the side, back behind one of the wagons.
Yeah, I dismount and do so. I'll follow his lead.
Okay, and as you come around the backside, Carlon stops and turns towards you. He says, "I have a friend that is in Daggerford." He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out, and you see five. No, just four. Four different small medallions, all engraved with the sign of the harbor. And he hands them to you, Max. He says, "I wouldn't bring these out openly, but if someone asks where your allegiances are and you know them to be a friend, this will better convince them."
I'll take it and pocket them. And say thank you for giving those of us who don't have such a permanent answer handy. Kind of alluding to his tattoo.
Yeah, he kind of looks down at his arm and shrugs. He says, "Not everybody knows what it means, but those that do either want to kill you or help you. So you've got a 50-50 shot, if nothing else. Just be careful when you bring those out."
Just smiles. It paid off once. Glad to see you above the ground.
That he nods and says, "Thanks to you, my friend." He kind of sighs. He says, "Well, the caravan sees some of the drivers hopping up around you. So it seems like back to work it is." So he turns and bids you farewell and starts to move back towards the back of the caravan to resume his role.
I wanted to kind of relay that conversation we had to him.
About the
making sure he's following stay with the caravan even if we have to depart.
Right, yeah. He nods and says, "Very well." He kind of says he'd prefer if you stayed near the caravan, since you're kind of the muscle of this expedition. But he nods and says, "I understand. I'll keep my eyes out for everything."
Okay. No, so we'll do our best to keep everything in line. But it feels like it's the closer we get to the finish line, the closer and closer it feels like this is going to rattle itself apart.
All right. So as that all comes to a close, the caravan obviously getting ready to set off. It's somewhat early morning, a little bit later than you usually take off, but you venture out, taking off out of the north of Daggerford towards Waterdeep. And at that point, we're going to go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break because I need to pee.
Yeah.
No.
We're doing it.
No.
God has said
All right.
yes. We're doing
I'll
it.
be right back,
Listen,
guys.
I can't be the only one wearing a diaper. Let's get it together.
What are you
When
talking
I'm
about?
as-
Work.
When
What are
I'm
we talking
as
about?
old as you, Willie, I'll join you in that, but I'm not quite there yet. So
Man, didn't any of you play Battlefields? You gotta get a piss bucket.
Shut up.
Man, I'm a
Stop
plumber.
talking
I have
about
a
old
series
people.
of pipes that I installed the day we
I'll be right
started
back.
D&D that goes to my bathroom.
I'll be right back too, guys. See you in
No, you
just
just
get
get
a
a
pee
pee bottle.
I was gonna
Like
say,
a urinal.
fortunately, I'm the oldest ones here, so I find that offensive.
Yeah, but how old are you two?
I'll be 34 in July.
Shut up, Damien. You're like a year older than I am.
Whatever.
You're old.
Yeah,
I thought you were like 23.
I used to be. A couple of years ago.
I only know Damien's old because Bobby's secretly an old fuck, and so I know that you two knew each other.
Yeah,
What's
Bobby's
that?
gonna be like what, 43 this year? Like that?
43?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's a joke.
Yeah, switch those numbers, yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
Well, I mean, he's fucking 90 in terms of being crotchety, so.
Oh yeah, he's at least 60. He's full on fish shaking at the screen door.
Except that's just the TV screen playing Call of Duty.
Right?
Were you playing with him last night? Because I heard something shake upstairs, and I thought like the roof caved in. I guess he just threw his controller for the first time in months.
First time at the new place. Throwing the controller. It's awesome.
I mean,
I
I legitimately thought something fell over.
I've been kicking wholesale asshole. Like, I've been chewing it up. Like, it's nobody's business over the past couple days. I dropped a 62 in one game. That's my best game so far.
What, 62 kills?
Was going 62 in one.
Was that on shipment?
That was not. That was on Carrington.
Never played on it.
It's Chinatown.
Chinatown.
Yeah, with 62 and 1 on Chinatown. It was mean. They didn't have a chance. I was just beating them up. Chomping on them.
I'm going to take 2 minutes before I get back.
Oh my goodness. Go on, sweetheart. Why being so aggressive? Sounds like hold music. D&D bots playing hold music. The next available representative will take your call. Thanks for holding. See?
There is nothing more infuriating than that sound to me.
Oh. We value your time, so someone will be with you as soon as they can. Like, oh, if you valued my time, I'd be talking to a human being right now, not listening to some fucking elevator music.
Right.
Oh man. We need to get you underground. 'Cause I feel like that's when you'd become insanely dangerous. Like, you should be able to feel everything.
We were in a cave once already.
Right? More underground.
Like, how far underground?
Let's go in the Underdark.
Okay, that won't bother me.
Yeah, except all the things that want to eat you.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna bother me. The cave's not gonna bother me.
Right, the darkness. Guess what? It will bother everybody else. You know, like, what? It's not that dark. Oh, it's dark. This is what it's like for you
What are
all
you
the time?
talking about?
Yeah.
Don't worry, fellow humans. Darkness is not a thing with me around.
Oh my god.
Oh, goodness.
Tara's gonna kneecap her by the time it's
Man.
over.
So are you just jacked to be traveling with 2 gold, like, Dragonborn?
Am I jacked? What?
Yeah, like, would your character be excited?
Pretty indifferent.
Really? I figure if you're crazy about fire and you got 2 guys that could breathe it, like, that would be...
I mean, define crazy about fire, though. Like, she might be fanatical, but it doesn't mean she loves it.
I feel like Havoc should have let us slay the guards that slew A-Rune.
Why do you just assume I'm not giving you that opportunity?
Because every time I say let's kill the caravan, you're like, oh, and we're on to Waterdeep.
No, well,
I didn't say shit. Y'all decided to not slay the caravan. I didn't do anything.
No,
And then we killed our way from here to Neverwhere.
Right? We can always backtrack. I'm sure by the time...
I don't know what the Red Larch was, but we killed there too.
I don't know how long it's going to take us to fight our way back to Dragonspear, but... You know what I mean? We can go take our castle.
I head into the forest to start slaughtering boars.
Yeah,
Gotta
are there any
level
chickens
up.
around?
And montage music plays in the background.
No, I think, are we all back? Is everybody back?
Stone
heard
Skull.
yes.
Okay.
Yep, we're here.
I am here.
D&D bot, are you back?
And Troll. You see.
One second. I have delicious rotisserie chicken.
Just want to let y'all know that my wife is on her way to Brahms to retrieve me a chocolate shake.
Chocolate shakes.
Yeah, and it's Brahms, so it's real ice cream chocolate shake, not like nasty McDonald's shakes.
Man, trolls are only CR5. What is this nonsense?
Okay, 2 trolls. Scene.
They brought a cave
whoa,
troll.
Whoa. Yeah, we don't need.
They have
no,
a
no, no.
cave troll.
One troll is dangerous enough.
Look, I once read a book that says all you have to do is get them talking until dawn, and you're good.
I read the same book.
You're gonna start a conversation with them, and it's gonna end much differently.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Oh, you're getting closer? Cool. I'll tell you a story about how my friend found his sword.
What's everyone's intelligence score? Like the flat score?
14.
11.
6.
11.
9.
Okay, because trolls have a 7, so...
Troll is smarter than Stone Skull.
Yes.
Mhm.
It gives you some relevance,
honestly.
though. You could be like, I mean, you see the intelligence in his eyes that look over at Stone Skull's eyes, you're like, yeah, he does look smarter than you.
Like, it was a joke all along. He's not Goliath, he's just part troll.
Right.
Goliath
Ogre.
troll. All right, everybody's
Even if it was a half troll, the troll would look at the half troll and be like, "You're kind of dumb. Like,
You're
are you gonna do
smart,
something?" Or yeah. There's something hilarious about that.
There's something really bad when you're being, like, accused of being inbred by a troll.
It's like the kids from the short bus get off and make fun of you.
Hey, we gotta get him some Velcro boots so he doesn't hurt himself.
We gotta get him some enchanted light up ones.
Yeah, no buttons or snaps. You gotta make sure you can tie it down
Why-
real tight.
Why do you think I'm looking forward to going barbarian? Because I don't have to wear any armor.
Just embrace it.
Shit's just take.
These
I
clothes
spend
are
half.
stupid.
I spend half a day trying to put my armor on. It's like I'm done with this shit.
It's just like Stone Skull go fighting naked from now on. Fuck it.
No more constricting
All right.
stuff around my crotch.
I love crotch rub those.
He's not stupid, he's just a simple man.
Simple needs, simple goals. Smash things in the head, cut them in half sometimes. Drink a lot of mead. It's a very simple man. It's all good.
He
It's
knows
very
as much as he needs to know.
Alrighty. So, as you take off, heading north once again from Daggerford, you continue on. You did both note both the newcomers, since the last 2 newcomers you saw were good people. So you kind of look, you see these 2 and kind of keep a note on them. That being said, everybody give me either insight checks or deception checks. Your choice.
Also,
Come on!
You said perception or deception?
Insight or deception.
Okay, because Willie just got me confused.
sorry.
That's a nat 6.
Oh.
Good at him, but nat.
Yeah, that +5 kind of boned you there. Oh well. Alrighty. Let's see. So, Tara and Maxine, you don't notice anything. Or yeah, Tara and Maxine, you don't notice anything.
Busy
Ignalia.
handing out amulets.
Yeah, you're taking care of the group, being the mother figure of the group, so don't have time to be watching everything. Ignalia, you notice that the gnome who recently joined the caravan seems to show an interest in the human who joined at the same time, the one that that was wearing a hood and had a tattoo on his head. Seems that she took a bit of a notice that he was welcome aboard one of the cult wagons as a passenger. You're able to clearly see that they obviously aren't together. but during stops, the gnome seems to often sidle up near to where the man is stationed on a wagon, seemingly trying to hear anything the human might say. And she has also been spotted hovering near the cult wagons when the cultists are busy with tasks other than guarding the wagons closely.
This gnome is a woman, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm keeping an eye on her.
Okay. Sarah, you notice that the gnome shows an interest in the character, in you all, the players. They notice she seems to be paying somewhat close attention to you as a group. Throughout the day, you've kind of watched off and on as she's kind of come up and talked to Maxine at one point, and Tara at another. Kind of overheard their conversations. It was just kind of innocuous questions, commenting on the weather, very clear out here and things of that nature. You kind of got the impression that she seems to be someone who flawlessly takes in every detail about people and her surroundings. So she's paying very close attention to you all.
Have I noticed if she's looking up at me, or is the illusion still holding?
That is an excellent question.
Um,
No, she is looking clearly at your elven faces, you two that are disguised.
okay.
Well, I guess I didn't notice her taking me in, so.
I would say just kind of as a general thing. Anybody new, you
I'm
kinda
looking around.
watch them. Yeah.
At
Just
our
making sure nobody's
faces.
in it.
Staring at her. What? Okay, yeah. Just keep an eye on that one too. I feel like they'll be one and the same.
Yeah.
No,
What are we to
same.
make of a woman so curious? A guard died not too long ago for sticking their nose where it shouldn't have been, and they weren't even party to this, correct?
I think that this caravan, the majority of this caravan, are all together, and we are the minority here, along for the ride.
I look around and start counting bodies.
If it, kind of laugh. If it comes to that, However, I feel like this is still as many heads as there are making this arm move. There's still bigger pieces, just a little further up the road.
I feel like Maxine is always talking us down for violence.
Not always. I just got done saying like 15 minutes ago I wanted to murder the whole caravan. However, we didn't in the moment, so now I've had time for rationale to set in. You want to stoke the fire of murdering somebody, you do it in the moment. I was ready to kill everybody for A-Rune.
You my boy, A-Rune?
To the end, dog. Just breathing fire, shake the illusion, be like, I'm storming out of this.
He pours a
them
pint
have it.
out on the curb for you.
We definitely missed an opportunity for like drunken Maxine just yelling, "I'm gonna burn this fucker down" in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you all notice, certain things about this this female gnome. Seems to be paying extra attention to different things throughout there. I would imagine you probably, Sarah especially, share some of her findings. That seems like she's taking somewhat interest in the group here. But you continue on. Left out. This was about day 53, so it was about a day after you left Daggerford. A couple more days pass somewhat uneventfully by, and day 55, the morning comes for that. Watch was kind of rotated. Instead of Shara and Maxine taking last watch, they took the middle watch. So you're waking up in the morning with the first rays of dawn, kind of stationed up in a tent for once instead of being out in the open. As you open your eyes, Max, you look around the tent, start to sit up, and as you do so, you look down at your arms and you clearly see, instead of through the haze that you've grown accustomed to over these last 50 or so days, you clearly see these golden scales of your normal skin shining through the rays of sunlight coming through the flap of the tent.
I immediately reach back into my pouch and smash the other vial that I've got. To my lips, down it goes.
All right. As you do so, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much like
Success.
the first time that you took the concoction given to you by the strange person you met in Elturil, you feel this burning sensation going down your throat and into your stomach as this concoction begins to begin potently changing your form outwardly with illusion. And once again, the translucent form of your elven shape takes over your body.
After that, as soon as I see it take shape, because Damien and I are in the same tent, right?
Sure.
Yes, we're still doing that.
Yes.
Okay.
Third
Right.
though.
Yeah, like as soon as we get up, it's like making sure that the tent is like closed and wake Steve up. Like, but we have a problem.
Oh shit. Also take the potion of stuff and things as I saved it on my character sheet.
Yeah,
Potion
you
of
already
stuff
took it.
and
There were only 3.
things.
We each originally took one.
Oh, yep.
I have
So,
number 3 that I just drank. As you
Yeah.
wake up, say, I need you to get away, like in secrecy, and meet up with the agent behind the caravan. You two can work together to stay out of sight.
Well,
But
one thing you do notice as Steve sets up, he clearly still has the illusion of the elf form surrounding him. It has not gone away.
Okay. We're still gonna do the same thing. To get to the back, because I feel like it's going to wear off sooner than later, and we don't need we can consider it going away on me a blessing in disguise. Now we know the time's almost up. Actually, I have can I use my disguise kit to disguise his elven form as being sickly looking?
You wouldn't need to use a disguise kit on that. You have a modicum of control over this illusion.
Oh, okay.
So you can kind of portray, a sickly looking things. You can't really change the form, so you couldn't change yourself into looking like a dragonborn again or anything. But you can control certain things like that. So, Steve, if you were wanting to do so, you could portray yourself as being sick, green around the gills, as it were.
Yes. I'm going to look like I'm in death's door then.
All right. So as you kind of picture this idea in your head of trying to look sickly and such, it's hard to see from your angle, but Max, you clearly see the eyes of Sarah's elven form kind of become sunken. Some heavy bags, very uncharacteristic for elves, begin to form beneath her eyes. She kind of looks a little bit taut. Her skin's tighter than normal, almost shrunken in appearance, and she looks pretty sick.
Perfect. Listen for my whistle in case we need you, but just stay far enough back to be out of sight.
All right.
All right. So
I also want to relay to the group what happened, what transpired as we go out about our business.
All right. So as you both exit the tent, still both dawned upon your elven forms, with Sarah's obviously looking much sicker than usual. You explain the situation to them. You see that everybody else in the camp is kind of getting up and raring to go once again for another day of travel, knowing you only got about another 5 or so days, less than a week now to get to your destination. So you go back, and Sarah moves back to the back to join Carlon. That's who you're joining, right?
Yes.
Okay. So kind of getting some odd looks from other the other merchants and guards as you walk by, looking very distressed and sick. Some of them kind of avoid you and shrink back away from you, knowing that anything that could be afflicting an elf would obviously have dire consequences for any other race that may come in contact with it. So they keep their distance away from you. Okay. Anything else y'all would like to look around for or do?
Not me.
In general, I'm just keeping my eye out for that gnome woman. I'm trying to figure out, her deal.
Give me another insight or deception check. Okay, you see more of the same. She's taking note of the cultists and the man she came onto the caravan with. Even now, after a couple of days of travel, she still seems to be stealing glances back towards your group as well.
But overall, just kind of like taking literally everything in.
Okay.
And there's nothing kind of out of the ordinary with the rest of the caravan as we get ready to move forward.
No, you kind of look around, especially in the area of Maxine and Sarah's tent. Notice that nobody was really around the area, so nobody seemed to have noticed the brief lack of disguise on Max. Nothing else seems to be untoward. Everybody seems to be caring about their acts, as it were, especially with the cultists, just wanting to get back on the road and move on. But nothing jumps out at you.
Okay.
So, day 55 continues on. Nothing extraordinary happens. You make camp as you move further north. Probably about right there. And you're continuing on. The day ends, night comes, spread out watch. Nothing eventful happens, and you continue on to the next day. As you all wake up the next morning, I'd imagine you all kind of start the day, catching a quick cold meal, for breakfast and such, sitting around either a fire if you were having a warm meal, just sitting around in a circle or something like that if you were having a cold one. Maybe one or two of you off, keeping an eye on everything. As a few of you, we'll say Max, Steve, and Stone Skull and Tara are sitting in a group, and Ignalia, you're off taking in everything, getting everybody set up to take off for the next morning. So you're all kind of sitting there eating some oatmeal you had from your rations. And as you're doing so, everybody give me perception checks that I just mentioned, except for Ignalia.
I hate oatmeal.
Can mine be a deception check again?
See?
Yeah, you really
I
hate
hate
oatmeal.
oatmeal. I'm just sitting here staring at it. I can't believe I
Oatmeal.
gotta eat this garbage.
Gee.
I feel like Max would just be enjoying whatever he could eat, just thankful for it.
Yeah. Why you gotta
What?
be greedy, Max?
No, I'm not thankful. I like
Because oatmeal is bullshit.
oatmeal's garbage.
Picky ass Dragonborn. So as you're kind of picking through your meal, Stone Skull, you see the female gnome walking over towards the group.
Kind of cough, try to clear my throat a little bit, and glance up towards the gnome, but not make too big of a spectacle of it.
Okay. And as he does so, you all kind of turn to look in the direction he's nodding. You see the gnome walk up, and she carefully kind of glances around, seeming to take note of where the cultists are. And she quickly puts a finger to her lips, and she reaches down to your bowl, Max, and pulls the bowl of oatmeal out of her hand. After poking through your oatmeal with the blade of her dagger, the gnome lifts it out and shows you an oatmeal-speared object resembling what appears to be a tiny bead. She glances over her shoulder towards where the cultists sit at their breakfast and kind of whispers to you all. "It's a sliver of bone," she whispers, "curled into circle so you can swallow it in a mouthful of gruel without noticing. Once eaten, it slowly uncurls inside of you, exposing needle points that pierce your guts and kill you slowly. I suspect they're in all of your breakfasts." And as she gets up and walks away, she adds, "Let's talk this evening."
Kind of pull the thing off the end of her dagger and, just kind of pocket it and just nods it. Where?
She looks over her shoulder and says, "I'll find you." And she takes off into the camp.
So that's a no-go on the oatmeal?
Yeah, that's a no on the oatmeal.
Tara looks kind of disappointed as she kind of moves her spoon about in her oatmeal.
I kind of, as I'm, pouring out my oatmeal, I said, "No, it's only oatmeal. Oh, it's so good for you, oatmeal." Making a show of it. You need to be thankful for your death-dealing stomach spine oatmeal. Is that somebody's favorite? Is that somebody's recipe?
But it's...
The grandma used to make it just like that, Stone Skull?
But it's oatmeal. I want oatmeal.
We're not eating oatmeal.
Oh god, Ruckus ate it.
Oh goodness. He's licking the bowl, the whole Ezra, and just goes like, "What?" Yeah. Bye, Ruckus.
No, not again.
Nice knowing you, bud.
This elf chick was looking sickly.
Yeah.
All right. So, as this gnome woman takes off and heads in the camp, you all, those of you who haven't eaten it all already, dispose of your oatmeal appropriately after seeing the obvious danger of it. The day continues on. She doesn't make any attempt to approach you as the morning hours go into the afternoon hours and into the evening. She still does not approach you. As the night catches on and everything starts to, everybody sets camp and begins to bed down and stuff, you're all kind of sitting in a group once again, much like the morning, except you're all present now. And you see her heading towards the group once again, kind of just darting from firelight to firelight before she arrives up next to you.
I don't know. Is something wrong with the oatmeal again?
Yeah, what food item is it this time?
With that, she shakes her head. She's like, "No, they didn't do it this time." And with that, you all see her kind of put in a lazy bow. She says, "My name is Jamna Gleamsilver."
Well, what can we do for you?
With that, her very, gnome, she's very short, very tiny, even smaller than Tara. She kind of sits down on her haunches and looks at you all and addresses you all. She says, "We don't work for the same people, but we're all on the same side. We share a belief that the cult of the dragon must be stopped. I need to know what they're carrying in those wagons and where they're taking it. Will you help me find out? We can do it tonight if necessary."
So, we don't work for the same company, but that implies you know who we work for, which puts us at a disadvantage.
That she kind of smiles and looks towards you. She says, "Well, I have my sources of information. That's enough to suffice for now."
No, I'm with Maxine.
I'm gonna have to insist.
With that, she kind of stands back upright, only rising about a half foot into the air. She kind of shrugs and says, "Well, I'm not telling you anything, so you can either help me find things out or tell me information, or I can leave and figure it out myself."
As she kind of stands up in a huff, Stone Skull is going to stand up as well and look down 5+ feet to this gnome and say, if you want things to go your way, you'll want to be a little generous with your information right now.
Yeah, kind of backing him up. So you're asking a lot without giving any. That's not a good way to start any relationship.
Tara just nods.
Somebody, whoever
Make
you
me
want
roll
to, give me
intimidation.
a persuasion check with advantage.
I got it.
Wait, what's your modifier?
9.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
Okay. So as you're all kind of explaining that, she looks a bit annoyed, but she sighs and hunts down again. She kind of motions up to Stone Skull and says, "Get down, you big oaf, before you draw attention." That she looks around, she says, "Well," she kind of motions a thick finger back behind her, motioning over towards the wagon where the other human that joined at the same time as her.
The Thayan?
Yes. She says, "Well, here, I'll give you some information then. We'll just exchange, if nothing else. Do you know that that man is a red wizard of Thay?"
I gathered him for a Thayan, but he's one of the red wizards?
Indeed. Begs a serious question, doesn't it? Why is a red wizard chumming it up with the cult of dragons?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They both seem like pretty shitty people. Makes sense.
No. They don't want to bring Tiamat back to life. They want to bring her. She's not dead. Want to bring her onto this plane of existence? Are they going to use the wizards for that?
With that, she kind of shrugs, Jamna shrugs, and says, "Those are excellent questions. Might be something you need the answers for, yes?"
Is that the information that you're looking for?
That
Wait,
and other information.
look for it. So you work for the Thayans?
With that, she kind of looks aghast, says, "No, of course not. Do I look Thayan to you?"
No, you just work for that Thayan.
She kind of raises an eyebrow. "For that Thayan? No. I don't know who that man is. I just know that he's a wizard."
Yet you were traveling with him?
She shakes her head no. And you all know that when they came onto the camp, they didn't come together. It was the same day, but it was spread out over several hours. Yeah, if that wasn't explained, that's my fault. I apologize.
Oh, yeah,
they
I
were
thought-
not traveling together.
I thought they were cohorts.
No,
I thought
it
you
wasn't
guys
like
were
the other two. They joined the caravan at different times of the day.
Gotcha.
I know what I want to do. Because am I here this time?
Yeah, you're here.
I want to say, okay, little woman, show us. Just tell me how good you are at this, and I'm gonna raise my finger and point it straight at her, and using message, whisper into her mind. Whisper back to me. What am I? And you can just tell me if she got it right or wrong.
As you do so, she kind of blinks at you, not really being taken aback from it, which is something you've, over time, kind of expected from people. As you do so, you see in front of you an image begin to coalesce. She kind of glances over her shoulders, and as she looks at you, an image begins to coalesce in front of you. And the figure of a very pale looking woman with large white wings spread out behind her back begins to take shape. And then the initial white hair turns almost fire red, and it just sits in front of you, Ignalia.
So she's making this image?
Mm-hmm. You would assume so.
So I'm going to kind of reach out with my hand, swipe at the figure to kind of like it's fog, just kind of like blur it away.
Yeah, and much like fog, it kind of dissipates as you wave your hand through it.
Without acknowledging much further, I'm going to turn towards the group and say, it's a wizard of Thay.
She kind of turns to the group as well and says, "Do you believe me now?"
Yeah, I kind of. See, I do. I don't. Before I answer, I just answer any more questions. I just have one for you. What are your feelings on the Cult of Dragons? Did she already make that clear?
Not directly. So as you ask that, she shrugs and says, "Well, they're going to get in my way, so they need to be stopped."
Well, you got the enemy of my enemy.
She nods. She says, "Once again, we don't work for the same people, but we're all on the same side."
Let's keep it that way. Yeah, I kind of, I've got a written ledger of, not only what was in what caravan, but kind of how much. You know what I mean? Like, as I went through the three or two of the three specific cultist wagons, and I'll just hand that over to her so she can see it.
And with that, she takes it willingly and begins to read over very quickly all the writing between what's been on the wagons and various activity you've noted over this journey and
Coming and
such.
going.
Right. Kind of just, I'm assuming you're laying it all out for her to read through and know.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
So
no reason not to.
okay. So as she's doing so, she takes a few minutes to read through your notes and such, kind of nodding and musing over it as she does so. And with that, she finishes up and kind of closes the ledger and hands it back to you and says, "Very well. That's the information I was going to gather tonight, but you've made it much easier for me." With that, she stands back up and she says, "Thank you for your assistance on this."
Yeah, just kind of. Did you put her name down? I didn't get it down when we were talking.
I got it.
Glide.
Jamna Silver.
Gemma Silver. Yeah.
Gleamsilver.
Jamna.
Jamna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
So like
no.
Mistress Gleamsilver.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of, nod and, so should our paths cross again, hopefully, we'll find ourselves on the same side.
With that, as she begins to turn away, she smiles at you and says, "Possibly. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?" And with that, she bids adieu to you. Just a short, like I said, very not not perfect by any stretch, and kind of a lazy bow. Gives it to all of you, and then she turns and disappears into the night.
Tara shakes her head. Why is it that everyone that wants to help us speaks in circles?
I'm just gonna say casually under my breath, "Fucking Harpers."
They're just trying to stay alive. They don't want to affiliate themselves too far one side or the other, make anybody mad. What is the has that? I want to pay attention to like the comings and goings of that red wizard. Like, is he just basically stayed in the tent?
Yeah, you aren't seeing much of him, even over the past couple days, and even at night and such. You don't see much of him. He seems to poke his head out time to time to talk to the wagon driver of the wagon he's on, which is Enum Tobun's wagon is the one that he's taken shelter on for the journey. Like I said, you don't see much of him.
Okay.
Was that the dick that stole Willie's sword?
Nope.
Oh. Where do I know this song?
Sounds like Skyrim.
Probably if you played Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
So I'm going to. Now I want to pay attention to both Jamna and the Thayan. Like, I want to. Like, that's my sole purpose, is just keeping an eye on the two of them.
That's kind of a ongoing thing, or just for the night?
Yeah. No, like from here on out. Like I want to watch
Okay.
if they do anything aside from just normal daily routine. If I want to know about it.
Okay. Give me a perception check. Okay.
I'm gonna use. Never mind. I'm not gonna do it.
Can I phone a friend?
As you all kind of take in this news and this new acquaintance, not sure if friend or enemy or anything. Seems like you're on the same side right now at the very least. You kind of keep an eye out for both of them. You don't see any of the Red Wizard of Thay that night, and you rarely see Jamna. You see her kind of hanging out by the cultist wagons as she's been doing most days, but don't really see anything noticeable from that. All right. So if nobody else has anything else for the night, it's going to continue on.
Yeah.
You're all able to, I'd imagine by this point, you all check your food before you eat it. Kind of investigate it just to make sure.
I'm eating rations.
Yeah, so you're eating your own food or anything like that, not necessarily hitting anything up from the communal wagon, Bade's wagon, who also has a little bit of food every few mornings or so, along with his generous supply of ale. But the night continues on. You keep watch. Nothing untoward happens. That was the ending of day 56. So just a few more days, and you know that you'll be arriving at Waterdeep. So day 57 is gonna go by. Everybody, give me perception checks.
No. Come on. Yeah.
No, Izzy says a 23 and rolls the highest out of the group. Oh, ties for the highest. So as the day continues on, you see much of the same from especially you, Maxine, who's keeping eye on this Red Wizard as well as Jamna Gleamsilver. You see her hang around the cultists a good deal, doing a pretty good job from your standpoint of staying out of sight and seeming more like a bystander than anything. She always seems to be moving out of people's sight as they begin to look towards her. She seems to be somewhat skilled at spying on these people. Stone Skull, you see at this point, as the adventure, or as the caravan continues onward and gets closer and closer to Waterdeep, you see the three wagons that you know to be controlled by cultists. All the cultists seem to be getting a little bit more on edge, seem to be looking around more, looking over their shoulder more, taking in not only you as a group, but everybody else in the caravan as well.
And this is just since we left Daggerford and headed. The closer we're getting to Waterdeep, when this is happening.
Yeah, it's been kind of ever increasing. You noticed a little bit of it, but now it's starting to get a little bit more obvious that they're tensing up a bit and keeping a wary eye out, more so than usual.
Okay. I just want to keep focused on the road ahead and making sure that the caravan makes it there. And if something seems suspicious, like it's going to derail our efforts, then Stone Skull will be trying to react to mitigate that a little bit.
Okay. All right. So the day continues on. Once again, I'm assuming you all kind of share your findings with each other as the night progresses on and gets later, and everybody takes their watch and such. And that would be day 57 comes to a close. As day 58 arrives, we'll say Stone Skull and Tara were on the last watch, so you're awake by this time, awake first before everybody else. Give me perception checks.
Okay.
I mean,
Yep.
It's incredible. It really is.
It's impressive at this point.
You were blind. I'm glad, that it's working out, but it sucks.
We'll say it was
Your attack roll's incredible. You should go diving head first in there.
Jesus. All right. Terry, you kind of catch the sound of this stone skull. You obviously see people beginning to gather around as the morning sun begins to rise over the caravan. You see people gathering around the wagon of Enam Tubun.
Can we make out what the people are kind of talking about or anything around that tent?
It's
Or
hard
wagon,
to
I'm
tell.
sorry.
Yeah, it's a little ways off. It's hard to tell, especially with the kind of ever-growing crowd beginning to move around the tent and wagon over in that area. The most you can see is you hear a lot of murmuring, and you hear kind of an animated conversation. You see someone's hands kind of moving in a very frustrated, animated fashion towards the center of the group.
Okay. Gonna quickly head this direction. As I do, kind of glance back at Tara and just say, pay attention to the rest of them. I can't keep my eyes on all of them at once. And then kind of rush in and try to separate it out, figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, as he's going forward, I'm gonna kind of hang back about 10 paces just to see what's like. I'm gonna be reactionary. If anything goes down, I'm ready.
Okay. Stone Skull, as you move into the group, all these people much smaller than you, so you're able to kind of move your way through. And as you move up, you see the merchant Inon Tubun. He was the one that was seen to be animated and such within the area. And as you look down, you see a pool of what appeared to be dry blood down below the wagon that belongs to him. And as you look around, you see that the wagon driver that was always driving his wagon is face down with a large sword wound in his back down beneath the wagon.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of pull or push people back away from the body and give a quick shout to Max and Sarah to have them come over and aid me in this.
Yeah, start making my way over, to that direction.
Okay. Steve, Sarah, what are you doing?
I will head over, but I'm still putting on sort of them sickly. Kind of stay. I'll stop about where Tara stopped.
Okay. Magnalia?
I would definitely head straight towards the body to start checking for vitals.
Okay. So as Stone Skull, Max, and Ignalia are standing over his body looking around, you all catch the conversation going on, and you hear that Inam is being very vehement that, somebody has murdered my friend, has murdered my driver. Someone here in this camp has. And with that, as you, Ignalia, as you move into there, he turns and points at you. He said, "She must have done it. Look at her sword. It matches the wound perfectly."
So which I kind of pull from my scabbard and look at, showing no sign of blood. Say, and how would you like to, prove such a thing?
As you say that, another man, who at this point you clearly recognize as another cultist from the caravan, looks over and says, "You could have easily cleaned it off. Of course there's no blood on it. Otherwise, you'd be caught red-handed."
I'll step up. But we overheard the commotion, and stepped over just a moment ago. We could vouch it was not her.
With that, the man who mentioned the sword brushes past you and walks to Ignalia and says, "Let me see your sword. We'll see if it's a match or not."
No, very well.
Very well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull out my sword and, not let him take it, but I'm gonna hold it like outward, horizontally for him to inspect.
And with that, he kind of puts a couple fingers on the end and motions it down towards the body. He says, "Put the point of it there, right where he has a stab wound that you made in him."
And I'll kind of, humor him and let him guide it towards the wound.
As you do so, give me an investigation check.
Nope.
No.
So as you move the sword down, you see the blade actually almost matches up with the blood imprint through the back of this man's tunic. It seems like a sword similar to your make could have been used to make this wound. And as that realization kind of spreads not only from you to the others, the man kind of explains, see, the sword matches. She killed him.
This buffoon thinks that swords are that unique. I have but a standard simple blade. He thinks it's unique.
And kind of coming to like calm the situation down. So, I promised that she was not involved in this. Where's Snow's called? Like, it turns to Sergeant.
And as you say that, you hear clearly from behind you the voice of Edhelry chiming in. She says, "These people have protected us. Although they've been somewhat slow about it sometimes, but they've done nothing that would cause us to believe that they would kill someone in cold blood." And alongside her, you hear, who particular note to Max, Oin Evanmore, who was selling the exotic birds and you remember initially stole the antagonist from you, chimes in. He says, "These people know how to use their blades. If this man had been killed in such a cowardly fashion, I don't believe it would belong to them." And he kind of sheepishly looks over at you, Maxine, to kind of reaffirm that he has your back in this.
Please don't kill me.
Just kind of like a nod. Yeah, just like a nod and a smile. And good on you.
And with that, you clearly see that as you've made a rapport with the group that aren't the cultists. While the cultists have been very standoffish and quiet and to themselves this entire trip, whereas you have let yourself talk to the other caravan owners and such, and once again save them multiple times from certain danger.
Right.
So it seems like they support you over the other claims. So as the cultists seem to be kind of put onto the back foot as these words of support begin to surround you and ring out and back up that you couldn't have done this, the man, seeing that initially was accusing Ignalia, starts to get frustrated and says, "Well, how will we know who did this then?"
It just kind of turns like it was you who just arrived, sir.
Yeah, I'll kind of sheath my sword and look around to the audience and say, "Who saw the body first? Who started screaming? Speak up."
And you see a couple of the different people, lying. Tissan, who had the cooking oil and such in his. He points over towards Inon Tobun. He says, "He was the one that raised up the cry, him and his guard."
Yeah, to which I'll look at all of them and say, "Would you gentlemen come forth and center?"
With that, you see them kind of going a little bit wide-eyed as they're now the center of this attention that they obviously do not want. And they look around and say, What do you want? I mean, we just discovered his body. We didn't kill him."
To that, I'd actually turn back to the cultist and say, "Well, examine their swords."
And with that, you see Enon just open his hands. He says, "I don't carry a weapon aside from me." He pulls out a small, hunting carving knife, but he's never been seen with a sword of any kind. The guard next to him, much similar to Steve's weapon, the rapier, he points to his side. He says, "None of our weapons would have caused this kind of wound."
And to that, I'll look over towards Sarah in this case and say, why don't you quickly examine their whereabouts, see if they're hiding something.
As you're saying that, you hear from the background, lying Tussin chimes in. He says, well, if somebody had gone around killing somebody, surely they would have stolen something. Let's look at your wares and see if anything's missing from them. And as he does so, you see Enom as well as his guard visibly, kind of go wide-eyed in panic. And they immediately start shaking their heads. Says, no, that won't be necessary. We've checked everything already. Nothing is missing. I guess he might have just been killed by a bandit in the night or something, or maybe somebody wanted something on him. If it's not who we thought it was originally, then it's not worth worrying about. We'll just give him a proper burial and continue on. We have business in Waterdeep anyway.
Can you kind of knowing him a little bit? Can I know if he's telling the truth?
You can give me an insight check with advantage.
Oof, good.
He's lying like a sumbitch.
Yeah, I thought so. And it was on checking his where I want to go pull him aside and talk to him by himself.
You're gonna pull Enom aside and talk to him?
Yeah.
As you move forward and kind of attempt to grab him, pull him to the side, he forcibly refuses to move. Says, "What do you want? Unhand me."
I just want to go up into his ear and whisper, "I know you're lying, and I don't want to call you out in front of this crowd. Come with me."
And as you do so, as you're kind of leaning down next to him, you see him. The panic kind of returning into his eyes, and he takes a step back, and you see him looking to his left and right, and you see that about 15 to 20 cultists have moved to that side of the group and are now at his back. And he looks back and forth, obviously seeing numbers on his side, and he shakes his head. He says, "No, that won't be necessary."
Where am I in relation to this?
You're in the middle of the group, kind of standing behind where Max is.
Okay. And are they between me and Max?
The cultists?
The cultists, yeah.
No, there's a line in the sand, as Willie just said, kind of like where they're standing, where Maxine and Enom are standing, and the cultists are on one side, and then the merchants and other people, as well as your group, are on the other.
Okay. Kind of hearing things start to get a little elevated, and turning my attention away from the body, look over to the cultists and say, "Perhaps my friend wasn't clear enough. I think you need to have a little discussion with him."
As you're saying that, you see Bade walking up to your left and moving into the group. You seem to be a little bit late start to get into this, and kind of looks around and looks down at the body, tries to take in the tent situation around him. And he looks over at you, Stone Skull, being a sergeant within this group. Says, "What's going on here?"
These cultists claim that they found this dead body here, and they're trying to pin the blame on us. Obviously, that's not the case, and my friend here is trying to settle this diplomatically.
As you bring up mention of cultists, he kind of raises an eyebrow. He says, "You're still on about that?" He looks down. He says, "Have you found out who killed this man?"
No, but that's what we were working on.
Working on it by interrogating one of the merchants that's paying us?
They were
Well, if
questioning.
he's the one who killed the man, we need to know.
And as you say that, he looks over at Enom. He says, "The man doesn't even carry a weapon. I haven't seen him carry one this entire trip."
No.
Yet
I don't
why
think
is...
he killed him, but I think he knows something about him.
Then why is he so reluctant to speak to us?
Bay kind of raises an eyebrow and looks you up and down through your, gargantuan height. Friend, I'd be hesitant to speak with you too alone. Kind of intimidating. As he says that, and here's the hears the accusations once again. He kind of, in a panicked kind of cry, he says, "I didn't murder this man. There's no way I would have. He's my driver. Why would I get rid of help?" Anybody listening to this, give me insight checks.
I also want to look around for the gnome.
All right, Ignalia, give me a perception check.
Ooh, so close.
Let's see. Ignalia, as Enon begins to scream out, you get the impression that he's telling the truth. He didn't murder him, and he seems unaware of who actually did it. It seems like he's just trying to pin it on the group, or onto you at the very least, kind of as an opportune thing. As you look around after you hear that, you look around for Jamna, but you actually don't see her anywhere. But you are surrounded by people that are much taller than her, so she could easily be behind one of them.
All right, so to which I will, kind of take that in and announce to a crowd, none of their weapons make sense. None of them fit the crime. It is suspicious that you would be so hesitant to talk with, but a simple elven woman about it. But we can't really pin that on you. And perhaps my associate, and I'm going to point my finger at Maxine when I do that, just to start the little communication to say, he's not responsible. Involved.
So as Ignalia is saying this, you all are able to see kind of the crowd parting back behind the group there, from y'all's side of it, not from the cultist side. And you see the hooded man that you know is a wizard of Thay walking to the group. And you hear kind of in a somewhat deep and somewhat accented voice, you hear him say, "What she says is the truth. Were there any witnesses to this murder?" Kind of looks around, waiting to see if anybody pipes up about anybody that actually had seen it happen. He says, "Without witnesses to this, and with so many people," and he kind of motions off to the guards, both cult and just merchant bot alike, "with so many people armed, there's no real way for us to figure out the cause of this crime, who the culprit is." And you all hear kind of murmurs of agreement from the merchants and such, as kind of a logical, assumption there. Can't really figure out.
Can argue it.
Yeah, I mean, nobody saw what just happened, so it makes sense to them. They all kind of mutter around, saying, "Well, if nobody knows what happens," and they talk about, staying in pairs and things of that nature to try to protect themselves and such.
I will, announce to the crowds, to do just that, to stay together and say, your lives are more valuable than gems and silver.
With that, as you say, gems and silver, you see visible perk ups, though they're quickly hidden, coming from the cultists at the mention of, gems and silver and gold is brought up for everyone to hear. But everybody else seems to kind of nod, and some of them come up and thank, not necessarily you, Ignalia, because you weren't really there for a lot of it, but the rest of the group for everything they've done, for being such excellent guards and keeping the caravan safe. A couple of them, Oin and Lying Tussin, say, "Well, you would never do anything like that. We didn't think for a second that you could have killed that man." And after a few minutes, the crowd kind of dissipates. You see a few of the cultists kind of grumbling, and especially towards you all in the group, shooting kind of daggers at, gazes of daggers at you. They are not happy with you, obviously. But the crowd disperses, and they take the body off to go bury, and the wagon caravan gets ready to move for the day.
I just want to point out that we have an 8-foot foot tall Goliath with a giant fucking sword that could destroy anybody with it. And the first person that they wanted to question was Ignalia, and didn't even ask anybody else's weapons, didn't question any of it.
Well, you do have a very large sword.
I do.
Yeah, the body.
It would have been a little bit bigger cut than what was into this thing. You all kind of got the assumption that it was either a short sword or a long sword of normal size that would have caused this wound.
Yeah,
Not a great sword.
unless it was using your toe file.
Yeah. It's like, Stone Skull's like littlest knife might have caused that wound, but his regular weapons, not so much.
I'm gonna climb to like the top of whatever caravan is nearest and just look around for Jamna.
Give me another perception check, this time with advantage.
19.
Nice. As you're looking around, you see Jamna was back towards the back of the wagon, it seemed, during this discourse, and she was kind of sitting back and looking between the legs of some of the taller folk and around the waists of others, kind of staying back out of sight, as she's been like to do for the most part. And as everybody starts to progress, she kind of shrugs and moves away with everybody else back into the caravan.
Before she gets too far, I'm just gonna point my finger and flick a message over to her saying, "Did you see anything interesting this morning?"
As you do so, she turns around and kind of raises an eyebrow and looks at you. You see her kind of smile and shrug, and then she turns and walks away.
No, I'll get down from the carriage and join the group.
Okay. So as everything kind of dissipates, the very tense situation for a few moments, leaving some people kind of tired for the morning and a little grumbly, but the caravan sets off, knowing that you only have a couple more days until Waterdeep. So the caravan is going to take off again. As the day progresses, everybody once again, except Tara, give me perception checks.
All these perceptions. Man, I was doing so well for a while. And then it just kind of tapered off.
Lily's been all over the place today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ignalia and Maxine. Or did you? Yeah, you. Okay. Yeah, Sarah's been kind of crappy all night.
I've Tara's perception.
Yeah, it's not negatives yet. You aren't quite to that level. You're getting close though. Maxine and Ignalia. You notice as the day progresses, the people that are with the cult wagons still seem to be just glaring daggers at you all. Standoffish, just hatred is radiating from them as they see you. It seems to be a shared animosity between all of them.
They won't do it.
Tension's building.
No balls.
No balls, they won't do it.
But they don't act on it as the day progresses and night falls and you stop. Bay kind of lets everybody know that you'll be hitting Waterdeep probably about noon, lunchtime the next day, to get good night rest and be glad don't let your guard down at the last second. But we'll be there soon.
Yeah, I don't think we sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Does anyone actually plan on sleeping?
No,
I mean-
no sleep till Waterdeep.
God damn it.
You got it.
That was really good, actually.
We can. We're so close now.
Guys, this is our last chance to just murder this whole caravan.
Well, except for the ones we like.
Well, my only concern with that, right, is we don't know where the next link is. We don't know where this is going. But I will agree that it does not seem like we're going to be able to stick around with this group for much longer. So...
I think
Well, it would not be good for their health.
what should happen is we're gonna get to Waterdeep, and let them figure out where they're gonna go, and then start picking them off one by one and make them come up missing.
I have a feeling with as much traffic as we've been seeing, that the closer we get, the closer we are to being vastly outnumbered.
Yeah.
I like
We
those
can always
odds.
murder them and then keep one alive. We usually don't try that strategy.
No. All right. Because I want to, again, after they killed A-Rune, like, I'm definitely looking for, righteous revenge. So I'm running out of reasons in my head to argue against. Taking them down.
Yeah.
So, as the night goes on, you've all expressed that you don't want to sleep, so you're all kind of staying awake for this. Anything y'all want to do, watch out for, or anything like that?
I'm keeping cover, hanging out with Stone Skull, being an annoying daughter, asking him about the ways of life, not getting very intelligent responses.
Nope. Not at all.
I'm probably sticking near them, more just like observing Tara.
Just staying on the horse and keeping an eye and an ear out for the which wagon is it that these guys are part of? The cultists.
There's at least 3 of them that you've noticed.
Okay. And they're all behind us?
One's in front, 2 are behind.
Okay. So yeah, just kind of keep an ear out behind us here, especially with Tara kind of being... Well, actually, can Tara sense anything if she's on the horse?
On the horse, no.
And yeah, just keeping an ear out behind us.
Just during the night?
Yeah. As we're... I'm guessing we're not... Are we actually stopping?
Yeah, no, it's
okay.
Stop time for the night.
Okay.
It's the last
yeah,
night of the trip.
if we're stopping for the night, then yeah, I'm gonna keep a focus behind us. The front side, I'm not as worried about.
All right. As you're kind of looking out and keeping an eye out, give me a perception check.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So you don't really notice anybody moving around too much. It seems like everybody's bedded down for the last night that they have to spend on the road for the time being. In the direction you're keeping a more keen eye out towards the cultists. 2 camps back behind you. You notice a few of them are stealing glances towards your way, towards your group's way, still with this kind of animosity in their eyes. You see a couple of them kind of seeing you, looking at them, and they pull out small knives and begin to sharpen them as they look at you. But they don't do anything.
Stone Skull will stand up and wave back to him, and then kind of reach to his back where the great sword's holstered and kind of lift it up just a little bit, and then goes to sit back down.
A little wiggle.
Without looking up, Tara's going to say, "Is there going to be trouble?"
Give me an intimidation check with advantage. So as you do so, and you see them visibly looking at you and trying to give you, kind of a menacing stare while sharpening their blades, obviously trying to intimidate you, you kind of just stand up nonchalantly and unloose loosen your blade in its sheath on your back for a moment, and then as you turn your eyes back towards them, their gazes kind of widen for a split second, and they turn away from your gaze and go back to what they were doing.
Okay, maybe they're not gonna do anything.
That's disappointing.
I have an idea, boys and girls.
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
Before you explain this idea,
Uh,
I just want to throw a thing out for you all.
sure.
Tomorrow you will be arriving in Waterdeep,
Mm-hmm.
about halfway through the day, and we'll see what happens at that point if you choose to go there. I will say once you reach Waterdeep, a special thing will be happening where you all hit level 5.
Oh.
Are you saying don't murder both of them yet?
I didn't say that. I just said, hey, when you hit Waterdeep, hey, you might level up.
No, what he's saying is we have to earn it, so definitely murder Hobo.
Could be construed that way too. Yeah, sure.
If we don't, then we won't earn it.
I suppose you'll hit level 5 either way.
Right?
If
All
we
right,
Trust
show
me,
up with-
I DM. I know how this works. You can
Yeah,
trust me.
no.
until the dragon swoops in. You know how it works until the dragon swoops in.
23 persuasion, you believe me.
We can't. Hold on. Oh, where's mine?
I couldn't see you, so it didn't work on me.
Yes.
Oh.
No.
Holy
We
hell.
don't murder them, and instead we continue on doing our reconnaissance. We don't need the unnecessary taking of life.
Give in to your feelings, Maxine. You know them to be true.
That's what I'm supposed to be saying.
Would
'cause
you
I sway your opinion just a little.
would you like me to go back and intimidate them a little more?
Yes.
No, I think you've sent the message loud and clear. I don't think they dare touch any of us as long as you're around.
Well, Stone Skull, you have to get lost for a bit.
Sorry, bud, gotta go.
Sorry,
when you hear
buddy.
the high-pitched squealing, come running.
When you hear the whistle, you know shit's going down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the night is progressing onward. Does anybody want to do anything? Watch out for anything? Anything of that sort?
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye out on the cultists. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sleeping tonight. So, we're too close. You know, we're going to see this thing through.
Yeah, I imagine that Tara dozes in and out,
Mm-hmm.
but attempts to stay awake.
Like, you know, the girlfriend or wife sitting in the passenger seat of the car as you're driving on a long road trip.
Trying.
It's trying to stay awake.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
16-hour trip, she slept for 13 of them.
All right, so you all keep a very wary eye out. Tara kind of not, but she tried. But you all see that, you know, the cult, while they do keep an eye on you and look in your direction, they obviously do not move towards you. They want none of that right now.
Okay.
So the night passes on without incident. The day continues, you know, Bade kind of getting the camp set up and everybody moving, you know, promising that journey will be over soon. And you set off early morning heading towards Waterdeep. The surroundings become very, start to get more marsh-like, you know, picture the waters down the valley, you know, Florida or something. Start to get softer ground and such, and you see some bogs off to your left and right along the tradeway. But you make your way all the way up, and about when the sky or the sun is about highest in the sky, about noon, you arrive at the city of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
And at that point, everybody is going to hit level 5, and we're going to take a quick break so I can get something to drink.
Woohoo!
Okay.
What? How many things did we fight at level 4?
Oh, wow.
It was like
Curious.
7.
Couple.
Yeah, we had like 4 encounters, 5 encounters, something like that.
Alright. Well,
It
good
was all
news, I have
encounters.
level 2 spells now, so...
It was all the encounters we didn't get into that got us the
Mhm.
experience. Restraint.
What
You know,
Oh,
I got so much experience out of that. I became a sorcerer.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. I guess I should roll my hit die, huh?
man. Hit points.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
You not taking barbarian yet?
No, no. I wanted extra attack first.
Yeah.
Then I'm taking barbarian.
Font of Inspiration. So nice.
Oh yeah.
I get all my bardic inspiration on short rest.
I get
That's
third
all I
level
get.
spells.
I get the only thing I really care about right now.
Huh.
Be able to slash things twice.
Two times.
There we go. This goes up to the top.
Dude, that's the second one.
Ouch.
I think my rolls are just broken.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he said for a session. Isn't it?
What's that? I think you were saying something, but we only caught the end of it.
I was saying, didn't Havoc say if you roll a low on hit die, take the average?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's going to tell me that. I was just waiting on him to get back to make sure.
Havoc, get back here. I want to kill something.
Extra attack is awesome. All right, I'll be right back. 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
All right, so Final Fantasy Overworld music. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Everybody about leveled up?
Well, if this would accept, if my character sheet would accept the
Havoc.
drop from the compendium, I could continue moving forward. But it doesn't seem like it wants to do that.
Do it.
I gotta.
What were you saying, Zord?
Two things: fireball, comma earthball. Question mark.
Mudball.
We could
Lava.
do like a.
No, that's our combo
We-
attack.
We could do a modified fireball to be like an exploding piece of earth. You know, shards move out instead of fire damage. It'd be piercing damage.
I like it. Other thing is roll the one again on my health. Mid
Yeah, take your average. So that would be
6 in total. Would it be 4 or 3?
It would be 4.
No, it'd be 4 plus 3, so 7.
Mhm.
Well, that gets me to 40 at least.
Next level's gonna be fun. Gonna get that barbarian next. A lot of fun. Oh.
Was sitting in the kitchen while I was making my drink. Freaking like Lulu Dallas from The Fifth Element. Just nomming on that rotisserie chicken. Chicken. Damn, 58 hit points. Stone's still getting BB.
Mm.
Oh, you rolled max for your health. Nice.
Mm.
You guys made it through episode 4. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Burn the caravan.
Now that we're here, everything dies.
Also, Zorn, do you have the ability Earthbind? Because you definitely should.
There's a reason I didn't take it. I'll have to look at it again to tell you why.
Just waiting. Just waiting. We got about another
those
hour.
Y'all,
and
first
then we're
on
done for the night.
Forgotten Realms
Gonna
Faerun
be a
lore.
lot of
Neverwinter was nearly destroyed by the eruption of Mount Hotanau? I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Oh, now.
Hotanau?
Mm-hmm. They just called it Hote.
Hotanau. Okay, yeah.
Hotanau. Yep.
The wiki says Hotanau.
Mhm.
How's that, Havoc?
Looks good.
I'm actually going to change the name from Earthball to Boulder.
Boulder.
Exploding boulder.
Yeah, I like Exploding Boulder.
Yeah, I mean, you got to convey the explosion. That's what Fireball's known for, is just this huge AoE room clearing attack.
Oh, Terra Burst is even better. I like it.
You're welcome. First one's
yeah.
free.
Yep. Pay the
Mhm.
man.
That'll be $10.
I can get paid in stat points.
Well, you're paying the wrong person then.
They bring it to me and I give it to you. Here you go, Daddy.
Send it on over. Be like, all right.
Eh,
Terrorverse. Nice.
you combust and shit. Man, picking spells as a sorcerer is fucking difficult.
It really is. You have so many options. I have all these toys. What do I pick?
So many good spells. Then evil Kermit me. Just take the fire-oriented ones. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think I am. Unlike wizards, sorcerers have no way to learn more, right?
To learn more spells?
Yeah. Wizards
Yeah.
can find them and learn them. Sorcerers, being innate, have no way, right?
No. I I mean, basically, you're learning them innately and such instead of learning them from books like wizards do. So you can't really learn them unless divine intervention or something of that sort intervenes and gives you the ability to learn more.
So my heritage.
So maybe something will happen if you earn it. Impress me.
Praise the Lord every night.
I'm all about fancy stuff and intervention from gods and fun stuff, but you gotta impress me enough to earn it.
Earn it.
My breath weapon DC is
Oh, man.
15. I'm a dangerous NPC.
That is stupid.
Yeah, I would be.
Wait, Willie,
I'm a CR5 at least.
what's your breath weapon at?
DC 15.
Oh, so second level sorcerer spell, Dragon Breath. I slap a willing creature and give it your ability. Okay. Except they can do it every round for a minute.
just bring it on me. I need it. I'll just turn myself into a flamethrower. Oh man, could I concentrate on a spell while breathing fire and fighting in martial combat? That would be pretty cool.
Does your damage die on that ever increase, or is it
Yeah,
6
it
forever?
does.
Yeah, it does go.
It's 2D to maxes out of 5D.
So I'm just saying, if I used it on him, I would argue that he gets the benefit, but his damage die.
I would probably go along with that argument, TBH. If you,
Oh,
because is
that
it a
second spell's been
concentration?
chosen.
Is it a concentration spell?
Yes, it is.
Yep, I will 100% go with it. You're concentrating on the spell to buff your friend while he is just raining fire on things. Yeah, that's fun.
Lemon Burfer.
I like the synergy.
I just imagine like singing up in combat, but like, ooh, whoa, just like unload a mouthful of fire, like a gout of flame at people. Like, oh man,
God, the oatmeal was poisoned. Brrr.
I told you I hated oatmeal. You didn't listen.
Famous last words, you didn't listen.
All right, so we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. I'm just going to give you all a little bit more stuff on here. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any combat this session. So
You son of a bitch.
you will get to try that out later. So as you roll into Waterdeep, it's been 2 months on the road. You were tired and dirty and just ready to be off the road. You see that most of the merchants that you know that aren't cultists, they disperse into this somewhat large cities, markets, and the warehouses and stables and such. As everybody begins to disperse and everything, Bade actually comes up to you after visiting with several of the other guards. He says, "Hey, well, it's paying time then. You stick with it all, unlike a few others. So you've earned your keep." So he pays Stone Skull 78 gold pieces. And the rest of you, except Tara, who went along as a daughter and not a guard, get 60 pieces each, gold pieces.
So I'm just like kind of holding an elven mask over my face and taking A-Rune's pay.
No, you don't get paid. You get paid, let's see, you were there for that. You get paid 20 gold pieces.
Woo!
I don't know about wielding 2 great swords. That's going to be a little difficult.
I don't think monkey grip is a thing yet.
Yeah. We may have to look into the 3.5 feats, maybe.
It's all too much. I was just being silly. I thought it would be funny to imagine Stone Skull swirling around like a tornado with these 2 great swords, one in each hand.
Told you, whirlwind barbarian.
Yeah. It was a thing in 3.5. There was monkey grip feat, which lets you hold large weapons in your offhand, and you could swing that some bitch around with 2 weapon fighting. think that's what they use for like halflings to use great swords and stuff like that. Things that are just entirely too big for them, and they're like, nope, monkey grip, I can do it now.
Oh no, the best was using a two-handed weapon, but going up a size category. So you'd be carrying like a large greatsword. Like, oh yeah, that's like 46 on a swing.
It's like, well,
it's
we're all Monster
heavy.
Hunter World characters now, so ridiculously just comically oversized weapons. All right, so as you all you get paid, you see most of the caravan kind of disperses and heads off. However, you do notice you lose sight of the 3 wagons that were associated with the cult. And as you're kind of looking around after being paid, you see Jamna reappears next to you. She kind of pokes Maxine in the side and points off towards the north of Waterdeep. She says, it might be a good idea to keep track of them. Looks like their journey isn't quite over yet.
Did you get, have you seen where they're headed?
Says, I'm not sure quite yet, but they took off somewhat in a hurry, in a determined fashion, to the north end of Waterdeep.
We should follow.
Are you, do you plan on joining us?
She kind of looks you up and down. Joining you? No. You may see me again, though, if they continue on.
Yeah, I imagine we, kind of pick up the paces going down the alley, just like turn and, shrug my shoulders, like, well, yeah, more than willing, more the merrier. Yeah.
And as you kind of turn the corner, you were kind of at the back of the group. That's why she singled you out. You turn forward to round the corner. As you turn back around, she's actually not standing next to you anymore. She has vanished.
Just kind of look up at the sky and chuckle. All right. Kind of like chuckle at the gods kind of deal. Like, that's how it's going to be.
All right. So you don't waste much time. Just as you said, kind of hurrying your pace, heading off at Jamma's advice to the north end. You're able to come around a corner, and you see in the middle of one of the streets, you see the 3 wagons with the 3 individuals that you recognize well by this point, heading towards the north gate of Waterdeep.
And we still have all of our equipment and stuff with us. There's no, stipulation of no horses through town or anything like that.
Oh, no. The town is not anything like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
The roads are somewhat, kind of halfway paved and such, but you clearly see lots of wagons and such going through town. Different little stalls of merchants, various merchants throughout the entire city. This is a much larger place, not as large as Baldur's Gate, mind you, but it's still a good bustling trade center.
Okay. Should we go ahead and just keep our stuff prepared and journey on, or are we staying here?
I think we gotta follow them.
Yeah, whether they like it, whether we like it, we're following them.
Okay. So as you follow them through the city, you see them getting closer and closer to the north gate. However, you do see a couple inns that seem to be the first thing that people see as they come in from the north side of the city. You see the 3 wagons from your caravan stop in front of one of the inns as they get there, and you kind of observe it. I imagine are kind of hanging back a little bit. You're observing it from afar. You see a couple of people disappear into the inn and then come back out, and you see the 3 wagons kind of move over next to the inn, and you see a large stable where you see other wagons have kind of been lined up in rows next to it, and they unhitch their horses and take them into the stable, and then they all disappear into the tavern or into the inn.
God, I have to fight my baser instincts every time we stop. What's the smart play here?
Burn the tavern down.
That's not the. I said smart. I did say smart, right?
bars with all of them, and they're
Havoc
both tavern
prepping
down,
that
don't
young
be caught.
green dragon or some shit.
No, like, imagine. I mean, just think about it for a sec. If you're tailing somebody, I mean, you're trying to follow them. What is there anything that you can do to help yourself out? Like, if they left their cars outside.
Ah, you're right. I write down the license plate number of the caravan.
As you're looking for some kind of identifying plate on the back of this caravan, you do notice multiple guards are stationed around not only the 3 carts that you know to belong to the cultists, you see several guards kind of stationed around other carts in the area.
Like how many?
How many guards? How many
How many
wagons?
cards? Yeah, like, are they all the same, like, kind of cultist guards?
It's kind of hard to tell. Even the ones that you've come to know to this point are all kind of dressed like normal mercenaries would be dressed. No distinguishing clothing or anything. Much the same of the other guards that you don't recognize. They all look kind of grizzled and they've all been through some fights. They look like they would put up a fight if necessary, but they all kind of seem somewhat lax as they're patrolling around a very large
Is there
group of
anybody
wagons.
that looks like they're in charge remotely, like a watch person?
Give me an insight check.
Oh.
As you're kind of looking around, looking for someone in charge, you don't really see any individual that stands out amongst everybody. You see a few people, going in and out of the tavern that seem to be checking and relaying orders. The inn, rather. It doesn't seem like anybody outside is really taking charge of it. It seems like they've all been kind of given the same directive to guard.
Okay. Yeah. I guess just we know the 3 wagons that like the caravan we came in with, right?
Yeah, you clearly see them parked.
Okay. Then, just pay attention to them. Follow the money. So I guess find a vantage point. So watch out of sight. Is that possible?
Yeah, you. There's actually another inn across the street. Think Lord of the Rings when Aragorn shows up for the first time and has that inn station across the street and able to look out a window across there. Yeah, you get that. You could have that.
I would like to. I just imagine getting ready to walk in one and then turning immediately on my heel in the other direction. Like, yes, I'm going to go to this one instead. Yeah, I want to go procure a room.
All right.
Legit though, that scene where they're just like mechanically stabbing beds was horrifying to me as a child.
Right?
Shit, that haunts me as an adult. It's fucking terrifying.
Ballroom blitz.
Shit.
There's definitely a bard worthy of that somewhere. Everybody in the back.
I'm gonna need a D&D rendition of Ballroom Blitz done, Willie. Okay, thanks.
I can do that.
I mean, it writes itself. And a man in the back yelled, "Everyone attack!"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, took notes. So as you move across the street, obviously seeing the one where it seems like the cultists are seeing the inn tavern that they're residing in, you go across the street, and you see another one, another inn overlooking that area. Give you seemingly a good vantage point if you can get some rooms on the edge, looking over the street. As you move up, you see a instead of a sign kind of hanging on latches, you see a board that's been, hammered in by two large pin pieces on either side. And written across it, you see the name Lair of Pleasant Souls written across in kind of a cursive script.
You don't call a place where pleasant souls live a lair.
They did.
It's gonna be terrible in their Yelp reviews. Ye old Yelp.
Ye old 4-star terrible reviews.
I'm gonna leave nasty messages on Twitter.
Got bubonic plague, died. 0 of 10 would
0
come
of 10 would not come back.
back.
0 of 5 slots would not raise again.
Yeah, just kind of take shifts watching the wagons.
Okay, so as you all move in, you're able to procure a room for slightly overweight. Barkeep, secures you a room. He says there's not a lot of people in town right now, so you're able to procure a couple rooms that are right on the side facing the street. So you all have windows facing out, looking out towards the other inn.
Nice.
So you're able to see the coming and going of it. Is everybody taking turns watching? Is anybody hanging out down by the bar? What's everybody doing?
I'm gonna go to the bar.
Steve's going upstairs.
Yep.
Steve's going upstairs.
Steve 100% going upstairs.
Right.
If we are secure, I'm going to take a small stroll to whatever the nearest temple and or church is.
Okay. Tara? Zorn. He isn't here. All right, so Tara is joining Stone Skull down in the bar to partake in the brewskis. So
Embarrass yourself again at the bar.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll start at the top. Okay. Steve and Max, as you're kind of taking watch, looking out the windows and trying to take in the comings and goings from the wagons as well as the tavern, you see a lot of different people going in and out of not only the tavern, but it seems to be coming and going from the group of wagons down there. It's hard to tell exactly who may or may not be cultists. Just their garb is not really screaming, "Hey, I'm a cultist" or anything. Everybody looks like merchants or caravan guards, things of that nature. Armor. Yeah, no bright purple armor is to be seen. You see some people talking to the guards over the wagons that are all grouped together. You kind of assume that might be more of the cultists. Seems to be a large amount of people visiting and coming and going from that area. You see nearby, just up the street, almost up to the gate, you see a very large warehouse. You see some of the people that are leaving the tavern going over to this warehouse. So you're kind of looking at what's being taken out of it. It looks like there's a bunch of construction equipment, so supplies and various implements, hammers, nails, things of that nature being taken out of it. Lots of wood and varying size stone, things of that nature, being loaded up into separate wagons, some of it being brought back and put into the wagons that are grouped together by the inn. It seems to be all loaded up, and you see some of the wagons during that day taking off, not the ones that you're tracking, but other wagons taking off and heading out the north gate and proceeding northward from Waterdeep.
Okay.
Let's see. Stone Skull and Tara. Tara with advantage. Give me perception checks.
Okay.
All right. So as you're all kind of sitting around, it's a normal-ish, bar tavern atmosphere. There's random people coming and going, drinking, some, having mild merriment. It's not anything like the bar that you found in Baldur's Gate. Not anything that rowdy. But you hear a lot of talk around you. You hear a lot of talk, especially from several of the people that seem to be travelers, and you learn a few of them are actually workers. You hear tell of the high road that leads to the north of Waterdeep. The high road used to connect Neverwinter all the way down to Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear a few of them explain, why isn't the road around anymore? And you hear it explain that there's a cold coastal large marsh called the Mere of Dead Men that lays between the road and the coast, and that over the years, the Mere continually kept expanding, and each time it grew, it would flood the road, the high road. So the road would then have to be moved and relocated further inland, and that was the situation up until about a century ago, when Neverwinter was nearly destroyed by the eruption of Mount Hotenau, rather. But the city and the ruins, the efforts to keep the road open simply stopped. There was nobody to really do it since it was all being funded by Neverwinter. So with the city gone, there was no reason to have the road anymore. However, now, that Lord Neverember is actually rebuilding Neverwinter, and the road is now needed again. So you kind of hear that and know that there's various people going to the north to help with the construction of the high road, bringing it back into existence. Ignalia, as you venture out, you actually find, through asking a few different people that seem to be locals, that there's a few different places of religion throughout the city. There's none to your particular deity that you serve, but you know that there is actually a sanctuary to Cheer, located a little bit south of your position towards the mid-city.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. I'll head that way.
Okay, so you head on down, you walk in, and
I will remove my helmet and just kind of generally make myself more presentable, looking for whoever is closest to the the door while watching the chamber.
as you enter, you see various priests that seem to be going about their duties. One sitting or standing by the door and kind of bows as you enter, welcomes you to the Church of Tyr.
And I will remove a gauntlet, and then with one hand, kind of press it into the bare wrist that I exposed, create a small flame, and kind of just ignite a small symbol of the gauntlet on the back of that hand. That kind of just fires up from that, and just say, "Might anyone of the order be in contact?"
With that, the man kind of steps back as you light a flame, and then he carefully looks, to his left and right, looking around the area, and motions and kind of takes your hand and wraps it around the flame. He says, "Come with me, my friend." And he leads you towards the back of the church. As he does so, it leads you to what is that?
That is the background feature I'm invoking.
Okay. So as you do so, the cleric, already wearing the symbol of Tyr, the balance scales resting on what appears to be a warhammer, leads you back to the back behind the altars and such, to a smaller room, and he shuts the door behind him. He kind of walks up to you and gives you a little bit more gracious bow. He says, "The order, while it does operate out of here, does not have any agents present. A lot of them have been recruited to go north to the Mere of Dead Men. The road construction isn't going well, and they've asked for people of our faith to help with the protection of the people trying to construct it."
I will say, what do they need protecting from? does this have anything to do with the cultist movement also heading northward?
With that, he kind of shrugs. He says, well, the cult that you speak of has been whispered among our peers, but it hasn't been seen as something relevant enough to focus our entire duties upon. So the other agents have moved to help with this construction. You see the mirror is full of all sorts of foul beasts and creatures. And in our effort to progress along the rebuilding of Neverwinter and the reestablishment of the High Road to help with that, our agents have gone up there to assist with the construction.
So I'll nod and just kind of casually gather information, from them about that operation. But I'll spend the time there, relaxing with them, and then I'll head back to the tavern much later.
Okay. Don't really gather too much information. It's not very busy within the sanctuary tier. You see clerics, minding their own, doing their own duties and such, maintaining the area. But you're able to do all of your deity worship and such. To your homage to, forgot her name already again.
Viren.
Viren, yeah. And continue on from there, and you're able to. I would imagine you're waiting until like after dark. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you wait till
Yeah,
after dark.
because once night falls here, me and Steve got some work to do.
All right. So I would imagine you all reconvene after dusk begins to set and the night begins to approach, and you all meet back in your rooms within the Lair of Pleasant Souls, and meet to share the things that you've learned from your watching and hearing around the city and the tavern itself. And that is the point we're going to go ahead and end the session for the night.
Yay. Awesome.
Fair enough. I want to go fight beasties. Is there a way that we can, what we need to do? Sabotage their supply road, right? Like their warehouse with about a week's worth of damage. And then let's go. Like, we'll be back. You guys we're going to ruin your warehouse and then go help this mirror dead man's thing. No.
All right, kidding. I want to ruin the warehouse, delay them, get to the Mirror Dead Man, clean that shit up, and then recruit some motherfucking paladins to join in.
Yeah, well, no, because paladins.
All right, so there you have it, guys. That is the end of our stream tonight. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget, Saturday, Sunday, Monday this week, 7:30 Eastern. We will be having Civil War, Ascension, and Tyranny, and then again for Civil War on Wednesday. Other than that, there really aren't many other announcements. I do look forward to PAX East in 2 weeks. Maybe a little something from the showroom floor on Thursday. Maybe not. I don't know. It's going to depend on the internet there. Otherwise, that's going to do it for me. Going to just drop this to Ash. Send you over here. She is playing some Sea of Thieves, so hope you guys enjoy. Otherwise, I will see you guys hopefully on Saturday. So yeah, have a good night, guys. See you soon. Oh no.